Meeting to order. Just point out to the crowd, as is evident if you've been sitting here for a bit, we're having some technical difficulties, so you might have to bear with us a bit. But let's get it started. We'll look first to item 1A, approval of the agenda.
Second.
Yes.
Oh, you never know.
Yeah. Been moved and seconded. Stan's always on.
Right.
Moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes unanimously. Item 1B, approval of May 4th, 2026 planning minutes. Minutes were posted. Anybody have any edits? If not, I'd entertain a motion to
Move to accept minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay. Motion to present or to accept the minutes as presented. Discussion on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes unanimously. Move to item 2A. Floor comments open for public. Now would be the time that if you're here for something not on the agenda, that the public can make comments. Generally, these would be things of general interest to planning or things you think the planning should be paying more attention to. Is there anybody here for general public comments? Seeing none, I'll move on to the agenda. Go to item 3, Board of Adjustments. May I get a motion to enter the Board of Adjustments?
Second.
Been moved to enter into the Board of Adjustments. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? It passes unanimously. So we'll go to variance request, ordinance 20, proposed plat of Lot 1, Northwest Corridor, Meade County.
Or Kirk Erickson.
Okay. Whoever's proponent, I'd ask to come up and present what you're requesting here for a variance. Yeah, you have to come up to the mic, ma'am. Identify who you are, and how you're related to the proposal. You can make sure your mic is on. Yeah, push the button.
Hello.
There you go.
Okay. My name is Rhonda Segrist. I am the person representing for Kirk Erickson on this. I'm not sure what exactly the variance is on this one, but we had 3 that we were passing. So you'll have to explain to me what this one was.
Well, there's some different variances. Tanya, do you want to just give a quick rundown of the 3 variances? We'll let her kind of speak to all of them, and we can ask questions while she's up here.
So,
All at one time?
Well, do you prefer to break them up one at a time?
No.
Okay.
I just as soon get this moving on so I can go back. I'm still calving.
Okay.
the applicant has requested 3 variances, 613-1 to ordinance 20, for a private access road to be 33 foot. The ordinance requires 66. Planning board on variance to a well. She's proposing a 3-acre, three lots.
Or
3
one
acre
to
lot.
figure out.
To have a well on it, the ordinance requires a minimum of 9 acres. And then to leave the existing access to the proposed lot as a 14-foot wide road instead of the easement to the lot.
Okay.
The plat was prepared by Bros Engineering. The plat, lot 1 is proposed out of the section that it's coming out of. It's an adequately described section 33. The access road is 33 foot, requiring what she's requesting. Our ordinance requires 66. Comes in off of Erickson Ranch Road. That is the first variance request.
That is the driveway to the house I own. It's already been there since the late 70s.
Yeah. And I know the staff on some of these doesn't have an issue, but it does have issues with certain of the variances, as it recommended opposing certain of variances, willing to accept others. And the 3 reports.
Because we're not subdividing. We're just putting 3 acres around the house I already own.
Yeah, well, you are subdividing, so under
But I mean, not a whole bunch of them.
Well, that's fine. So why don't you tell us what you're trying to do, and then give us a chance to ask questions.
Okay, the driveway that goes to the house I already own, which is a trailer house, but that's how we get to the house. It already has its well. It already has electricity. It already has everything set up to be that. We're just trying to put 3 acres around it so that I will own the acres underneath the house I already own.
Okay.
And Kirk Erickson is gifting that to me for helping him for 7 years so he could keep ranching.
All right.
But he wanted to keep control of the road, so if at any time he decides to sell any other land, then he has control over that driveway as to. So we'll work out the easements to be able to use it to get to the house and whatnot.
Okay. I'll just tell you, I guess I could understand him wanting to try to control that access point. We do have requirements that you need 9 acres to have your individual well and septic system. That's generally not a variance that I support, especially when there's clearly sufficient land where you do the 9 acres. That's the one I have the biggest heartburn on. I was going to recommend that you could just include the driveway in your access, but I guess I can understand the argument where he'd want to hold that. You could reconfigure the lot also to pick up part of your driveway and still leave the access point in his control. Those are some thoughts I've got. I'll pitch it out to the rest of the board for comments. So we don't have these in a row, it doesn't look like either.
No. So he is platting through the city of Somerset. This is our ETJ boundary.
Okay.
The city of Somerset requires any variances through Meade County since we're the ones that issue the building permits, the approaches, the septics, that it meets our requirements for those needs. So that's why you're seeing the variances. So then she will take the plat through the city of Somerset for final approval.
Okay.
And they're waiting on me so I can get on their meeting as to whether this all passes or not.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, it would seem to me that you would probably want to maintain, if the 66-foot easement, it's just a larger easement, doesn't change what he controls, actually. He then controls that whole 66 feet. So I'm not sure what the issue is with him giving you a 66-foot wide private access easement.
He's just controlling the access into the road because you're limited to how many accesses you can have along the road.
Sure.
So he's maintaining the one he already owns in his possession. That's why.
Yeah.
If he gives that to us or me,
Perhaps
and then he wants another one.
perhaps my question, where he could keep the whole 66-foot too and still give you the 66-foot.
And meet ordinance.
And meet ordinance, because he's going to need the 66-foot if he wants to put more lots back there anyway. He's going to have to dedicate 60 feet.
Then he can go on to the land he will still own.
Yeah, it just would conform to the county ordinance that we have right now currently.
But wouldn't that come up if he ever decides to do something with the other land, that then for him to use that access for a subdivision or whatever he decides to create, he then would have to create the 66 feet to comply with what he's doing with the rest of his land?
Yeah, so if he has the 66 feet and he keeps the 66 feet, then he has rights to let other lots access off that 66 feet.
Right, but that's why I'm saying, if he ever decides to do something else with the land he still owns, he will then have to come to you guys,
Well, or Somerset.
or Somerset. Well, first you guys, and then Somerset,
Well, it
to
depends. I mean, we only see
make
it
that
if there's,
road.
we only see it if there's variance requests. So, okay, other questions? I mean, you kind of spoke to these, but we'll have to take these individually for any action.
Okay.
So, other specific questions on her 33 feet wide private access easement as opposed to the 66-foot wide private access easement? While she's up here, does anybody, go ahead.
Is the well located on these 3 acres, or is it?
Yes.
Whereabouts is it?
You'll see it right behind, north of the house. There's a little tiny
Oh, okay.
square right there, right there. That's where the well is,
How about the septic and the
and
drain
that's
field?
clear over to the west, right in a little farther where that little black dot is, right in there.
Is the well used at all for any of the watering?
It is. It goes out. You'll see that it goes out to the east, and there's a little square out there, right there, and that's the watering tank that cattle use about 2 weeks during the year.
Really a shared well.
Yes, and that's what we'll be working out with our attorney as to.
Do we have a shared well agreement?
I did not know that.
We will.
That was not conveyed
It
to me,
was
so-
one. It was, do you get the cart before the horse, or do you get the horse and then the cart? Our attorney advised us to get this settled, then go to Somerset, and then we'll have a description of the land or the plot that we can then work out and have as a shared well, as long as he has cattle only.
So, you know, I'm familiar with this lot because I drive where you're at because I drive by it on a regular basis. I guess I don't, you know, since you're up here, I don't understand what the restriction is to giving 9 acres because, like, as it drops away there, I mean,
The 3 acres he's given me is 1 acre of usable land, and the rest is ravine.
right, and you could,
I'm just being grateful that he's willing to gift me something for all the work I've done.
Okay.
I'm not going to go up to him and say, well, really, I think I'm worth 9 acres.
well,
That's not going to go over.
yeah, well,
I'm just saying.
yeah, but we also have rules and laws about how this works and the variance.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay. Other questions? Why?
Didn't we
Oh,
just
one
have
second.
something like this last month with the guy that wanted to break off the 10 and 5 acre thing?
Yep, almost very similar.
Okay. And so we already set a precedent based on our ruling from last month that would basically be applicable to this situation as well, do you think?
Well, and actually, we've had other ones where they've come in where they've got plenty of ground, and they just want to do the 3. And we've got another one coming up, I think, later here where people are like subdividing one at a time. They want a variance one. So this is something we've looked at other times. Under the Board of Adjustment, it looks like the only issue on the Board of Adjustment is the access issue. Am I correct? And the other 2 variances have to go up to the commission, and those under the others.
4C and 4D.
Okay. Okay. Other questions? Well, so the road question, or the surface of the road question is later. That has to do with the, and you know, if her road was in her property, then it would be just a driveway, which would limit it. The problem you get is when there's an easement across and it can be used by other people. That's when the standards get different.
It goes back into the pasture so that we can go check cows. It's a driveway.
Oh, your mic is just a little closer.
Yep. So theoretically, somebody like through that easement, they would be driving right in front of your house past that if there was future subdivision around your house.
If that's what he chose to do. But he would have to finish the road. I mean, it goes to the trailer house, it's gravel to the trailer house, and then it just becomes a trail.
Okay.
To get up to check cows.
So it's a two-track there to the southwest.
Yeah, if you go to the
Kinda.
satellite, you can see it past the house going further.
Yeah. And it is a trail after it passes the... It's just been used so many years, it looks like a road.
That theoretical trail would be flat of acreage.
No, it just goes past the house then. The 3 acres basically follows the road to the house, the yard. The septic system is included in it, and then it's everything around there is his property.
Got it figured out?
It looks like there's a road up there, but like I said, we're talking many years of driving on it to go check cows.
I think the biggest concern with that, what he's pointing out is the future down the road. You know, at some point in time, there could be a development going in behind there or anywhere around there, and if this road is the sole road going in, and it just ends right there in front of your house, or it continues on, that could pose to be an issue.
But that's why I'm saying, wouldn't that be at the time when, if Kirk Erickson decided that he was going to make developments or whatever, then he would have to get whatever approval of making a road that was more accessible for people to use up behind there. Right now, it's just a driveway.
Yeah, so just to the board, I think let's keep our distinction between, you know, how big of the surface has to be today versus how big the access, you know, whether it should be 66 versus 33. So, because we've got multiple variance requests on this. So, just so we keep those thoughts in line, because, you know, those might be different considerations. Okay, additional questions? Does staff want to comment on this one issue, and reserve comments for the other variances as they come up, or do you?
As a 33 to a 66, just trying to be, if it ever went to City of Somerset, just trying to give them a good product long term. That's the reason for the ETJ, is that it meets requirements. So when they go to, if it ever does get annexed, since the annexation is moving that way, it's a good product for them to use also. Can take additional right-of-way out of the adequate section line right-of-way if it does have to be replatted. That is available.
Yeah, that's because that was a question I had, and that is, you know, what's the additional dedication? You're only following the platted area, not the remaining of the property.
Additionally, we have never gone lower than 40 foot on an access easement, or 40 or above.
Well,
The last several plots I have researched through.
yeah. Yeah, and it's the ordinance requires 66, but we've not dropped it below 40. I can't recall a time dropping below, even on a variance. And I guess we can talk about the dedication when we get to the actual plat. Is the plat's being done with at Somerset?
Yes.
Additional thoughts? There's been a motion to deny the requested variance. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to deny the requested variance. Discussion. Christian, did you have
I think it's pretty clear that, you know, the access easement, you know, the 66 feet isn't going to affect the way your driveway looks now, anything like that. It's for, in what you described as his own future thoughts about what he's going to do with the rest of that land. So there's no, in my opinion, there's no real reason to not follow the code in this situation. I don't understand where the hardship is or why it needs to be less, but it's really not going to impact the look or feel or usage of your property to meet the county code.
Is it going to affect the fact that I can't get that 3 acres plotted to own it around my house? Yes.
And that's a separate issue. I mean, that you're required by code to have a certain number of acres for water and septic and a well and all those things, and you're not meeting that either.
I think what, ma'am, I think what your question is, we're going to address that later, but earlier comments are generally we have not given that variance in these types of situations. But we're going to take because of the way legally we have to address these, this one falls under what's called the Board of Adjustments. The other ones fall under an aspect that was just a recommendation to the commission. So we have to deal with this one first, and then we'll go through these that deal with the Board of Adjustments, and then we'll get to your other ones. So,
so this variance, you're not approving it?
Well, we haven't voted on it yet.
Okay.
So, but any other discussion on this variance request? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to deny the change of the access easement down to 33 feet, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed to the motion?
Nay.
Okay, so I vote aye. Also, I vote for the motion also, so that motion passes and the variance is not granted. Now you got the two other variances that are recommendations to the commission. We'll take those up a little later in the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go to item 3C, variance request ordinance 20, lots 1A and 1B and well lot. Shannon, I believe that's you. Shannon, we've seen this one before. Why don't you go ahead and just start explaining it?
Okay. You guys seen this one last meeting, and under one of the discussions I did fail to apply for variance for the road width. After that meeting, Anya and I went out and looked at the road, inspected, measured, and I apologize because this is actually some information that I could have provided at that meeting for your guys' consideration to review and look at. So when you look at the exhibit in front of you, the existing road width of 139th, you can see it's basically in the beginning, coming off Elk Creek Road, is 33 feet wide, and then it keeps a consistent width of 27 feet wide in width. From there past the to the full length of the subject property that's being platted. So again, so my point here is basically it's very, very close, within a foot within the county specs of 28 feet. So, which is 24-foot wide gravel surface with 2-foot shoulders. So, so that's why we decided to bring it back. We asked county commissioners to consider pulling off the agenda so it could come back to you folks to review again. And again, we just want to provide this information for you, so you can look at the exact, basically the facts of what the road condition of 139th is today.
So the variance being requested on this is to, from the 28 feet. This is the variance we're looking at right now.
Yep. To accept the road in the condition that it's in.
Yeah. So at the last meeting, I'll just follow up with some, because I had raised this issue specifically at the last meeting, and I went out and drove it, and it was clear to me at the beginning it was more than 28. And it's in pretty good shape until you kind of start heading up the hill, and it narrows maybe, this is past the property, it might narrow as you go up the hill a little bit, but it's actually in really, that first quarter mile is in pretty good shape. So why I expressed a concern about it at the last meeting, I don't have a concern about having it looked at it now and getting the distances down really. So I don't know if anybody else has any other questions, but since I was the one that kind of brought it up last meeting, I thought it would be.
Well, I just would like a little bit of clarification. We just denied a variance for 33 foot for a driveway, but we're going to approve a variance for 27-foot road?
No, you're looking at it differently. That was, the easement has to be 66 foot wide. That has nothing to do with the width of the road. This is a width of the road variance request of a county road. As whether you have to rebuild the county road to get it up by an extra foot, make it an extra foot wider. And we've, as a general rule, or we often grant these on existing county roads, but not if they're building new roads. And like I said, the other one's totally different because it was just the easement, not the road surface.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Unless, I think I said that right, staff? Okay.
And this is maintained by, 139th is maintained by the Highway Department, down to 220. Highway Department does not see this road needed to be widened at all.
So this is basically changing of perception based on what we had at the preceding meeting with this new information. Okay, thank you.
We'd be adding 6 inches.
Yeah, and the shoulders aren't really bad. There's not a huge drop off there. It's a bit flat through it. Yeah, like I said, I was the one that kind of raised this issue, and then I drove it afterwards. And I at that point, I thought it was certainly wide enough as you come up to Elk Creek, and that was a part of my worries before, is making sure it was wide enough up by Elk Creek where you get turning traffic. Other questions for Shannon? And then I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve variance request for ordinance 20, Article 6.12.4.
Second.
Moving second to approve the variance request. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That passed unanimously. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank
I think
you.
you're going to be back up in a bit, aren't you? Okay, variance request, ordinance 20, preliminary plats, lot 1 and 2, Double Diamond Estates. Another one we've seen previously. He's back there too, so.
I'm going to let him explain this one. No.
No, after the fact, we had a 24-foot roadway with the 2-foot shoulders on both sides. This road would be servicing only 2 lots. The reasoning is for the variance request is I only have 2 lots there. There will never be any more than 2 lots. The drainage on the east is going to be financially unable to do any more to go even across that. Probably going to have a FEMA investigation on it and just the cost of putting a pipe and to go any further across the drainage there to the east. So since we're only servicing one lot past that first driveway, my initial request was 18 foot and then down to 14 because there's only going to be one lot there. I think that's been changed, which I don't have an issue with that, but
What's the change?
18 all the way back.
And then is there a cul-de-sac requirement there too? At the end, I'm
Yes.
just looking at the design, like there's a turnaround requirement.
Okay.
So when the preliminary plat was approved, it was approved off of meeting the ordinance requirement of 5141 to be 28 foot wide. Coming back with a variance to reduce that preliminary plat to 4.
Yeah.
That's why it's back again.
Okay. Yeah, because I did specifically ask this question about the 28 feet on that, and you guys
And
at
I
that time
totally-
said, you guys said, yeah, not a problem.
No, but yeah. No, that was my understanding. It wasn't a problem. But like Scott said, I don't think he was.
Yeah, it went over-
He admitted he wasn't really paying
realized-
attention to.
And then I get out on the county road, and the county road's 24 foot wide. I'm like, I'm putting a
So you
county
want
road going into these two lots. I mean, like, really?
to widen the county road? Is that what you're saying?
I could do that. Well, it has no shoulders.
Okay. Thoughts, comments? Is there another variance tied to this piece?
No, this is it.
The plat's back on, it looks like.
No, the plat's not on.
Okay,
Just the variance to
just
allow
this.
this. so the
Because he's
preliminary
gonna have to
plat can come-
construct before he brings the plat back. All right. Questions, comments? Everybody know, you're still gonna dedicate to 66 feet.
Yep, that's not an issue.
It's just on surfacing.
Correct.
Um,
And I think it's just ditches this time and no shoulders, correct? At least that's
You'd
what
be
the email,
18
that's
foot
what the
wide.
email, yeah.
Yeah, 18 foot wide surface.
Right, yeah.
and so, yeah, and so this is a private access easement.
Correct.
Back to the two lots. You know, one thought I would have is a requirement that you have to improve it if you plat more lots or put more houses back there. Well, I understand that you're not planning
I
on doing
totally,
that.
I totally get it.
I mean, do you have an issue with that requirement? That would give me some, because that way if,
I totally understand that. If I'm gonna put 10 more lots in there, go to all the expense to do all that, I get the road width. I totally get that.
I mean, so, thoughts, questions?
Did you say that the last 564 feet or so would also be 18 feet, or was it that 14 feet? So the
No.
whole thing's going to be 18.
I think staff recommendation is 18 foot all the way back.
The request was 14, I recommended 8.
Okay, so we would,
Which makes sense to me. You don't
Yeah.
want them down.
Right.
I mean, just for your plowing, it makes to have a consistent
You know, slow it. Hard to know.
road. Mike, do you have a question? You're looking inquisitive.
No, I just want to make sure Tanya's happy.
You got more work to do, man. Other questions? So,
Motion to approve the variance with stipulations of staff recommendation.
yeah, and also would you entertain also making the requirement that the variance would require them to improve the road to the 28 driving surface if they add more lots?
Now, do you want to specify how many lots? Because the private access is for 4 or less, as it is now, correct?
Private.
Yes,
but
if
it's
you go over
private.
4 lots, then you would have to have a secondary access out.
Correct, which, yeah, okay. Don't know how that's going to happen either.
If you add more lots, you're going to have more problems because you're going to have all
Well, I mean, I can't put a lot in between those two because of the drainage. I can't put anything further to the east because of the drainage. That's a serious drainage to the east of all that. So,
But maybe you can turn it into an amusement park like the city of New Orleans during the Battle of
yeah,
1814.
but there's no water runs down that. You know.
Yeah, so I mean,
That's
you've
the goal.
represented multiple times to this board that the reason you're doing this is for your kids.
And that is 100%.
So, I mean, it's up to the motion makers what kind of restrictions you want to put to make you bring it up to.
Any further, no subdividing?
Well, I mean, it's your motion, Mike. I mean,
Okay, I motion we approve the variance request with the staff stipulations with no more subdividing. What else I need to add to this?
No additional lots?
No additional lots, so no more subdividing.
Right, without
With
bringing the road up.
bringing the road up.
To 28 feet.
That's my voice. What are you saying?
Projection.
I'll second that.
all right. Well, the ventriloquist act is done over here, so that's good. All right. So the motion is, as I understand it, I'm going to restate it so that we can follow. To allow the variance conditioned on meeting staff's recommended conditions and including a condition for further subdividing, they bring up the road surface to required surfacing. So, that work for you? Motion and second, or did I correctly state that?
Yep.
Copacetic.
Okay. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Maybe,
Thank you.
maybe after this rain there'll be water in it, so in your drainage. So. Okay. Go to I think 3E. Insler Estates variance request. Yeah.
This is for dedication.
Now, we've seen this one multiple times, too,
Yes.
so.
So this was brought in a year ago today, or tomorrow. We saw the preliminary plat. Done some lot rearranging, got some DOT approvals for accesses. Now we're trying to follow through with the approval of the plat. This variance is to 2612-4, to waive the requirement to improve the existing 22-foot wide gravel surface road of 140th Avenue. This is the Meade County Highway maintained road, independent, wide road.
Isn't this the one that has a bunch of drainage issues across it, too?
Drainage, yeah.
Okay. But we haven't approved this preliminary
We have
plat,
not,
is there?
no variances or the preliminary plat have ever been approved.
And we revised, just so you know, you'll see that coming up, but we did revise the lot layout to eliminate a lot next to, that way all the drainage containment would be within the large lot. So that's the difference. Landowner decided to take a lot away, just because of the drainage on 141st. So, but you'll see that in the plat coming up. So that's the difference. And then as well as, it took a while to get a, DOT approved approach where it made sense. So we do have that now. So that again you'll see in the new lot layout. So.
So lots 2, 3, and 4 are coming off 34?
Yes, they will all come off Highway 34, and that's why we eliminated the lot, the fourth lot, so that there would be no access points off 141st, just because of the drainage within that area. So it wouldn't be impede that drainage at all. So.
Is it 141st or 140th?
I'm sorry.
The plat says 140th.
140th. I'm thinking Golden Valley.
That's
area.
fine. I just want to make sure that we
Thank
don't
you.
have an error on it.
So.
And lot 1 is coming off.
Yes, that one has an existing approach on it, and that nothing will change with that. That approach will remain the same. So.
So the question, the actual variance being sought here, because I know this is on for a couple of items, is the improvement of the county road. I didn't see them attached, but if everybody might remember there was a number of pictures showing water over that road. That 140th has had water events breasting that road. And that kind of led to the discussion on getting access for that fourth lot they were looking at doing, fronting the highway. And some of the issues. Staff's comments or thoughts?
We have received information from the landowners also. Board has come in with some additional information, RCS showing the watershed drainage map. Photo of the 140th. Lyle and James also submitted a letter. Other variants.
Did the highway superintendent have any input on the flooding or possible culverts?
No, he did not.
And is that further north, or where's that picture from?
That would be north of on 140th. It's not right up next to the highway, if I recall correctly. This
gentleman.
The court is here.
Okay. All right, you want to come up and? You going to have comments? Yeah, you can have comments. Yeah, I was going to call for comments on this one because I know we've had some regular input, so that's all right. So it was north of the highway. Okay.
So my understanding, the power pole, if I'm not wrong.
Oh, that's where the variance sign is.
That's where
Yeah.
the variance sign is, and
Which
that's
I
the
took pictures.
southeast corner of the property, correct?
Yep.
This road ditch that's crossing
No.
the DOT
Right there next to
right
a
away.
DOT. Okay. So it is right up front. Okay.
Yes, it does. Yep.
So we're not adding, we're just.
No, correct. Yep.
Well, let's. What I'm going to do is call for public comment here, so I can get you guys on the mic. As soon as if we're done with Shannon or have additional questions for him. Okay. Anybody else here to speak to this matter? You have to come up and get on the mic, though. So if you identify yourself, sir, and then you're interested in what's going on here.
My name is Gary Kinsler, and I'm the landowner.
Okay, you're a proponent then.
Yeah.
Okay.
That picture that was taken was just right after we bought that property, and to my knowledge, that flooding has never happened again, especially that seriously. So that is basically a one-time deal.
Wow.
To my knowledge.
How long do you live there?
We don't live there.
Well, how long have you owned it?
15 years, a little more than 15 years.
So what year was the flooding?
I don't recall. Maybe Don knows. He's the one who took the picture.
Anything else you have to say, Mr. Kinsler?
Not yet. Not right now. Maybe before this is over I will. But.
Okay. Don, you want to come up?
Don Cord, and I am an adjacent landowner, and we bought that property in 2006. And the picture was taken, I would say 2007 or 2008. I can't tell you exactly right off the top of my head. So, the issue that I see there was that the culverts didn't have a place to go. So there's big culverts, but it's very level ground to the east that it feeds to, and it just doesn't have a place to go away. But it was running about a foot deep for about 1/8 of a mile for 2 weeks. And it wasn't, fast water, but it was moving water.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of water. And I was told that there's 5 miles of drainage that comes into there, and so we also have a high water table there, so there's not a lot of place for it to just go away in the ground either. So I don't know. I'm just afraid that it's going to be a real issue on anybody having a septic system that works, and that they're going to be dealing with flooding regularly. We've been really dry right now. For the last 2 years, I don't think they would have any trouble, but I grew up out east of Sturgis, so I drove through that area a lot. And it's always been a pretty wet location where it did really well for, hay, and it hasn't been doing that for several years. But anyway.
So, Don, the access of the lots 2, 3, and 4 off of 34, do you see an issue there, or is it just as you kind of get to 140th?
I see an issue, as far as trying to have a functional house with a septic system in that area as a builder. I see that being a real problem. I see it, somebody spending a lot of money and then fighting nature, and not being able to get their money out of their house if they decide to try and get away.
How often have you seen water there?
I saw it 2 years, like what I had pictures of, and not to that extent, but there's been water in that drainage, half a dozen times. It's pretty substantial, but it goes away way faster than 2 weeks sitting on the road. But I'm not an engineer. I just have seen stuff my whole life growing up on a ranch, and the only cure I see for that is to have some kind of a channel that goes through 34 and gets something back to the creek. And I don't see where that's going to be something that the state's going to say is feasible for the project. But that's just my opinion.
Staff, anything else? Don, anything else? Other comments you got?
No, my only real comment is that I'm very lazy. I plan on living out there, and I really don't want to be helping somebody that I could have helped them out today.
Okay, fair enough.
That's where I'm at.
All right, anybody else out in the audience has any comments on this? So right now, the variance we're looking at is, what, the improvement to 140, correct? Questions, thoughts?
Tanya, with all the information we just got, are you still standing by your recommendation to go forth with what you put down, your staff comments?
Not improve, 140th, yes.
And this is based on your technical...
Based on the highway department, superintendent wanting to improve the road and leave it as is.
And the road is county maintained.
Road is county maintained. It does loop around. You do not have to come out on 34 here. You can come out further down Highway 34. You're not landlocking anybody.
And this is the variance for, then we'll see this later on.
So, what do you mean they're not landlocked?
140th goes around and comes back out east further east.
Right.
So the lot coming off of Highway 34, you have access to Highway 34. If you're coming off of the back, off of Lot 4, you can continue on 140.
Lot 1, you mean?
Lot 1? Does need to access 34.
Well, yeah, except go that way, you're going to have to go through that drainage where the water's going to be. What staff thought of doing the same thing we just did, and that is saying there's no further subdivision of that lot 1 until. I'm not saying that they have to improve the road, but I mean the county probably it's going to have to probably be done by the county someday. But I don't see how all of a sudden they come back in and want to chop 3 or 4 more lots back there. I don't know where the access is going to be.
Off of 140.
Yeah, there's no, I mean
further north.
Yeah.
Further development further north.
I don't know. I mean yeah. That's the hard thing. There's this county's so big. There's so many county roads that to get them up to a way the county can build these roads so development can happen. So the question is whether you let development happen when the roads aren't sufficient. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for clarifying that. So, Michael, did you have a question?
I'm running for office tomorrow. I'm not going to say a word. No, sir. In all fairness, to answer that, what this means is that in the time I've been here, the one thing we've heard is that nothing more is ever going to happen, and we've had a precedent where, like, 7 years later, everything changes. And that's why, because you saw I got a little frustrated with this lady here and the driveway thing, finding out why do we have these ordinances, why do we tell these people this and that. And what I'm learning on the job for the past year and a half is that things have happened in the past because there was no central oversight on how to set a baseline standard as to what has to be done in order to make sure things don't fall apart later. So I understand it's your intent to stay that way, but I've also had a lot of people come up here and a lot of developments come out of nowhere and ranches disappear left and right all over the place. So we would like to bank on the future, but we can't make any promises for the progress.
Yeah, the questions, thoughts, comments. Shannon, do you have anything else given the comments made by the individual that came up?
No, I'm good.
Anybody wish to make a motion?
Approve the variance with the understanding that there is no further subdivision of Lot 1.
Second.
Okay. Been moved and seconded. I think the term discussion is vague. I mean, what you mean is that there until there's adequate road improvements, or I mean, discussion. I don't. Well, the problem is somebody's going to try to read this 5 years from now.
I'm sorry. Without updating the road. There you go. Just put it there, and then if they want a variance, they can come back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so who? I got a couple seconds on that. Nancy, I'll take your second. You're okay with that change?
Yes.
That clarification. All right. Yeah, that's the other thing. As we're going to get to one later on, where having the minutes and then having the resolution, how we dispose of something to be clear is important. Discussions on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you, Shannon. We've got another variance request, same location. This variance request is for not to dedicate the public right-of-way on the other side of the...
Right, because they don't own it.
Okay. This is Go ahead, Shannon. You know this one better than I do.
Okay, so this variance request comes from Ordinance 20, Article 6, 9, 11. So basically states that required, as if you're platting property, you're required to plat dedicated public right-of-way across on the other side of the road, which is the neighbor's. Most likely, it's owned by the neighbor. In this case, which it is, different landowner. So we're just asking that we do not have to dedicate that property. So,
yeah.
And the land, just to point out, the landowner has dedicated their portion per the preliminary plat. So,
okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept that.
Second.
Moved and seconded to grant the variance request. Discussions on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. And I make a motion to exit Board of Adjustments.
Second.
Motion and second to exit the Board of Adjustments. Any discussion?
Aye.
None, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, we'll go on to regular business 4A. These are variances, as it was noted in one of the earlier one, where the Planning Board makes recommendations to the Commission. The Commission's the ultimate Board of Adjustment for these variance requests, and so the Commission has to act. Because of that, these variances can be passed by us by a simple majority, but must be passed by the Commission by 2/3. With that, we'll start with variance request ordinance 33, track 13C Golden Arrow subdivision. Yes, you do, ma'am.
Okay.
Just push it down.
Okay. So my name's Catherine Sutton. My husband and I own tract 13C, and we are requesting a variance for the installation of a well. The property was platted in 2020 at 8.6 acres as part of the Golden Arrow subdivision, and we're trying to sell. We haven't been able to do any development on it at all. We've got 2 kids with special needs. We're having to be out in Sioux Falls all the time. We need to sell and move. And the number one thing we keep getting in feedback from potential buyers is, well, but what about the well? So we're requesting the variance so that we can say to people, we've got the variance. You guys can hire whoever you want to put the well in and take it and do what you want with it.
Where's your water come from now?
We truck in water from the Black Hawk Water District. There's currently no house on the property. We're living basically in 2 travel trailers and a motorhome and a barn. We have a septic system installed. My parents did that. It's permitted.
Yeah. There are some minutes to this. Staff, why don't you kind of give the background on this?
So when this plat was issued in 2020, it was the understanding that a variance would be applied for when a well was needed. The plat was granted on a smaller acreage. Attached within the packet here, started July of 6th of 2020 with the preliminary. I have Bearview Valley Water. Petitions of the plat were made. Notes that
Right there.
Right here, the Commission on June 23rd approved the preliminary plat with the condition that a right-of-way drive on the east side of Tract 13, established 66 wide right-of-way for 220th Drive, also stating that a variance for a proposed Lot 13C would be permissible because Tract 13C would be less than 9 acres, but would be allowed to have a private well. So I'm asking to clean up an old platting issue.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, the variance should have been granted at that time of the plat.
Yeah,
But it wasn't, so I'm just trying to clean up.
yeah. And I think only San and I were around. That's my lecture one book ago about being clarifying. Yeah, we might have. Yeah, and I have some recollection on this. There was a couple of other issues that they were giving some stuff up. It was almost kind of a trade-off. Was the discussion because of what they were kind of moving stuff around? That kind of resulted in being just short on this lot. Okay, is there anybody here from the audience who wishes to speak to this variance request? Seeing none, questions for the proponent or staff?
There seems to be a letter here from a Kelly Cermak that opposes this request. I'm having a little trouble trying to understand the genesis of her concern is that she's afraid that you're going to be taking water away from her well if you put a new well down there.
I have no idea. She hasn't spoken to us about this. They're currently being very difficult about that private access easement that was also created at the time this property was platted. We've had to retain counsel to deal with that. So,
Tanya, did you get a chance to look over this letter that was attached, and does it have any basis in factual information, or is it just a personal opinion that she's stating?
South Dakota DNR will issue the well permit, and if there's satisfactory well water, then they will approve the permit. Don't get enough pressure, then it's up to the well driller in the state to come up with the right regulation.
Okay.
Which is 5 gallons per minute.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Other questions, comments? No questions or comments? I'd entertain a motion.
I motion we recommend the approval of the variance request under. I have my progressive lenses on. Ordinance 33, Article 7.7.9 to allow installation of private well on Tract 13C of Golden Arrow subdivision.
Second that.
I was going to second.
They moved and seconded. Discussions on the motion.
Seconded in 2020. Just
yeah.
Is needed based upon that this was presented back in 2020 as far as brought forth to the commission, the planning commission.
Well, they'll get the meeting pack information too. So I don't expect, generally they look at me and ask me, what is this? But I mean, if it passes unanimously,
Okay, thank you.
Okay, discussions on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Good luck, ma'am.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Variance request ordinance 33, proposed plat of lot 1, northeast corridor of section 33. Yep, you're back. Thanks for
hanging out.
I apologize again for procedurally how we have to do these, but they're
I got it. Just
implicate
business.
other different ordinances. This is the request.
All the well on 3 acres.
Yep. Okay. Any other presentation you wish to make, ma'am?
It's a well that's been there forever, you know, and listening to different variances with the road and this and that, and I understand that you have to set your precedents. I understand that. Because you don't know what's going to happen in the future, and that's why I was saying even with the variance with the road, that to me looked like that's something that Kirk Erickson would have to worry about if he ever decides to develop the rest of his land. Then he's going to have to deal with the road. So, anyway, it's what are you going to approve it or not approve it? Then let me know, and let's go to the next one.
All right. Is there anybody here from the audience who wants to speak to any of these regarding this parcel? Questions or comments?
It seems like some of these things are definitely outside her control. She obviously received a gift from a fellow individual, dedication for her service to helping them out, and unfortunately, we do have the grandfather thing with the well already being there. I know we had incidents in the past where people put a well in and then come and ask us for permission, but how long has this well been here, ma'am?
Since the late 70s.
And do we know if it meets current required standards?
Mm-hmm. And it's not a well, I mean, he knows that you can't put anything else on it. You know, it maintains one house, and it's never run out, so you just don't push it. And it's good water.
And there's just...
Tanya, do we have a well report?
No, I do not.
I've got two issues. One, it's a shared well. We don't have a shared well agreement. Two, we don't have a well report. They were my
Yeah, and I'm issuing, it's been there for like, what, 50 plus years already. I mean...
Since the late 70s, and...
said, you don't push it.
Well, you know, the questions, it's a question right now. If somebody makes it, we guys can fight.
It's just a matter of, are you going to approve it as it is with 3 acres or not? And then we'll go on to the next variance.
Yeah. One of the, again, I drive by this, and it would seem to be that ravine runs down further, and that land's not worth a lot for future development.
No.
It also looks to me like you've got the house fenced off in this little boxed area that you show here.
Yes.
So you're going to let him run the cattle over your property while he's still running cattle, is my understanding.
Yes.
Yeah,
Until we get ready to fence it off, you know. But that's the agreement between the two of us that we'll work out with the attorneys that...
So if we do go forward with this, what would we, as a body here, we would want...
With the promise of no more subdivisions on using that well?
Right.
There's one.
That's definitely one of them, and the other would be most likely a well share agreement that would have to happen before...
It will be documented into Meade County Court when we do this with... We had to have a plot to put on an agreement with the attorney to submit to Meade County. And all of that will be documented then. We just couldn't do it without the plot.
Should we have a draft before it goes to commission?
Right, that's what I'm thinking, that procedurally that we would have to have something before it could be finalized.
And that can happen. Because this all has to be approved by Somerset then too.
Yeah, there was like 10 pages of follow-on stuff. So I just don't know exactly just how deep this minefield is that we're swimming in right now. But Tanya, your basis for your recommendation is solely on the variant request is outside the ordinance standards as they are written. You have no other concerns other than that? Okay.
Other questions, comments? Okay.
Do we have to make a recommendation to the county?
Well, I mean, I suppose you could.
I can tell you from past experience, yes, you do.
Yeah, I mean, generally they want. Otherwise, they'll probably turn around and send it back. So.
When we do have a precedence issue. We've had these presented to us in the past, and there's always hardship to everybody, whatever the situation may be, and it makes it very difficult to pick one over the other. It becomes subjective, almost, and I understand that to request and ask for 9 acres is very difficult, but that obviously would solve a lot of these issues.
Yes or no, and let's go on to the next one, please.
I appreciate your no nonsense.
She's got calving to get back to. Yeah.
I have cows that are still calving, and so it's a yes or no. So
I'll make a motion to deny.
Second.
Moved and seconded to deny the variance request. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor of denial signify by saying aye.
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 Also an aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Next.
Okay.
I'm right here.
Um,
Because
variance,
at this point, it really doesn't matter. It's,
ma'am,
this
do you want us
deal's
to
not
move
gonna
next,
happen.
or do you want me to?
I just want to make sure I can tell Kirk Erickson you denied all three.
Okay. Variance request, ordinance 10. This is the road width. This is the actual road construction surfacing, correct?
Yes.
Which requires a minimum of 28-foot surface for a private access road. That's because it's coming on an easement as opposed to a driveway, and what appears to be is they're asking us to use the standard driveway standard. Is that correct, staff? All right. Discussions or questions?
So the road isn't wide enough to be a driveway?
The issue is, because the road is not a driveway, because it's over an easement, the easement roads that are not on your property have to be wider because other people can use them. Once it hits your property, then the driveway aspect kicks in. What you're asking for is to use a driveway surface, like a driveway that would be on your property.
Okay.
That's the
So if he gave me the driveway, and I have to spend another $3,500 to get Bose to come in and replot this,
well, yeah, I mean.
then it would be okay.
Well, yeah, it would. You would not have, the standards would be different because it's not an easement across somebody else's property at that point.
Okay.
So, discussion or questions?
Well, if I'm reading this right, it says the staff recommends approval.
Right, because I mean, this goes
So
back.
it may not be 0 for 3, it may be 1 and 2.
1 and 2. This kind of goes back, Mike, to your comment you made earlier. What's the difference? This is kind of a road width difference, which, frankly, I probably don't have. I don't think I have an issue with this as long as the variance conditioned on that you can't use it for other houses or any other structures. You know, you can use it to access, but.
Ma'am, can I ask, what do you want to do? You said you got the 3 acres that you got coming to you. 2 acres are kind of a ravine. That 1 other acre, is that something you're going to build on, or just want some buffer space?
I don't know if, I mean, it would be nice to have a bigger house on it, but I just want to own the land underneath the house I already own.
And then hypothetically,
and pay tax on.
Yeah, and hypothetically, if you, when you get the 3 acres becomes yours, that 1 acre, you are looking at using it for personal use for the foreseeable
Only
future.
personal use, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the board approval with the condition that there's.
Second.
All right, I got it.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion amongst the board on the motion?
Oh, no. No.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right.
All right, thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you for your patience. We'll go to 4D, variance request ordinance 10, lots 1 and 2 of Double Diamond Estates. I thought there was another one of these on.
I thought you meant under.
Oh.
I thought you meant underneath the board we were in.
Okay. You guys are. What's this one?
This one is not to build to ordinance 10 standards, to the 28 foot that they.
Okay.
set to 18.
The same thing we just
Yep.
granted, but we have to do it because of the building permit issue. All right. All right, go ahead, Shannon. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I wasn't too sure myself, but.
Well, I mean,
It's an ordinance 10 ordinance.
Right. I mean, and just for everybody's understanding, there's a building requirement that you have to have a certain width of a road, and then there's also a subdivision requirement. And those match, so if we give a variance on one, we have to recommend to the commission to give the variance on the other. Fair enough? Is that correct, staff?
Yes.
Okay. Is anybody here to speak to this today? None.
Make a motion, we approve as presented.
Motion and second to approve or recommend the variance to the commission, given the Planning board has already approved it for planning purposes.
Yeah, and on this one, we do not need to have same language we had prior with no subdivision.
No.
Yeah.
You can, but it goes to the building permit, so once the building permit's issued.
That one
the house-
supersedes.
Yeah, I mean, the house is there, so
Yeah.
not much you can
Okay, just making sure.
do.
I had a motion. I don't know who the second was.
I think B seconded it. All those in favor of the ordinance as or the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? It passed unanimously. Okay. Now we're done with W D for the day. Are we done?
Sorry.
Variance
Now
request.
this is the repeat also, yes.
Variance request ordinance, lot 1A and 1B. This is the same issue with these lots too.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Anybody here to speak to this variance? Any questions from board on
I'll make a motion to accept as presented.
based on us waiving it for the plat?
Yes.
Second.
Any discussions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, variance request ordinance 10. Lots 1 through 8 of Summit View Development. And I can sit down for a while. You guys are back. What happened now?
You guys got a busy day today compared to last month.
Yeah.
Okay.
So during the form of intent, we asked that they presented that the radius is he'll be a lesser radius.
Correct.
Radius is within the subdivision. Required. Form of intent, it didn't seem to be housekeeping item that we have with their road design to have a lesser radius.
Yeah, I know they're not going to control it. You're dedicating these publicly, right? The road.
Correct.
Is there a road district then that's going to be in place or take over the area or not?
The HOA will maintain the road, and they will establish a road district.
So state law requires that marked roads are 20 miles an hour. The only thing, I don't have a problem with granting it, it's just the speed question. Whether signage should be maybe part of the, because it's not something you would generally do as a developer, but
No worries. Yeah, so we did look at AASHTO's guidance for turns radius. Based on our radius, recommended speed is about 15 to 20 miles an hour. So it is technically a little tighter than what AASHTO would recommend, but seeing as it would be a 20 mile an hour, it would be relatively close. Those are also on very flat surface, so you're going to be able to see the full radius of the corner well before you get into it.
otherwise what, you make it just a controlled intersection with right-hand and left-hand turns?
Yeah, that would be the other option.
With stop signs probably then at that point. Well,
Probably.
maybe not. I mean, you probably don't need stop signs, but.
A yield. The one in the northeast corner will need to stay kind of at the 90, otherwise it starts to cause issues with the culverts. We could adjust the one on the southeast corner to follow county guidance.
On the southwest, where that's going to be a through road eventually, we have a dedicated. At that time, if that becomes developed, it becomes.
questions?
So are we going to be able to ensure, if I recall correctly, your development is basically going to be marketing towards military members, correct?
Yeah, more low income. My goal is to, with everything said and done, to be able to sell these for around 400,000 or less.
Okay. So the big question would be, is that tractor trailers and buses, are they going to have problems going around all these tight corners and stuff? Because military moves around a lot, and I expect during the summer season, during PCS height, you're going to have a lot of congestion back there, people moving in and out if you have a bunch of rentals or short-term situations. Are the turns too tight for tractor trailers to maneuver safely?
I can't say we did not do a tracking analysis on this.
It might be a consideration because most of the military movers usually obviously use the big 18-wheelers and stuff like that, and they don't like to switch out their cargoes in between because it costs their contractors more. But that would be a concern I would have.
Yeah, wouldn't AASHTO have done that analysis as part of their recommendations on these curves?
I would have thought, but we didn't do a tracking analysis, so I can't speak accurately.
Yeah, look at you, Mike.
These are for the phase 2, 3, and 4. Maybe that's something we asked for this variance, and then bring it back since this does not affect the first phase of the plat.
Yeah, I think
We're just kind of cleaning up all the phases as we go, so we're not coming back again. So they can keep on designing, but for phase 1, it doesn't affect it at all.
And this is that 8-unit phase, correct?
Yes.
Just the first 8 units. Yeah, that's just the same thing we're going to have with the follow-on with the water and stuff like that. Is hope for the best, plan for the worst. But there'll be obviously. I see this at one of our like Stage Barn subdivision, pretty narrow streets and stuff, and
that's terrible.
And we obviously need to be very mindful of that as a county planning commission to ensure safe operation of all vehicles that can go on and off those roadways.
What is the surface width?
It's the county spec.
Do the 28.
Okay, the 28.
Yep. So I would think, they'd be able to maneuver around the turns. I don't know if it would or not, but
They would likely take the whole road, but I have no doubt they could make that turn.
Okay, well, I think given the question, well, let's. Is there anybody here to speak to this variance besides the people that are up here? Other questions or comments about this variance request?
I had the exact same thought as Mike did on this, so it seems like that if you just ran a model to kind of show that, it would be a helpful exhibit.
Because we obviously won't know, what type of HOA requirements or anything you have for on-street parking. I mean, you can go down almost any subdivision out here, Sun Valley, all the way around. There are big RVs, there are boats and stuff like that, and if people bring all their toys, it could make maneuvering pretty difficult.
we did send it to the fire department. They didn't bring up any concerns on the turns, but yeah, we can sure.
Yeah, fire trucks usually are obviously shorter than bigger ones.
Let's, perhaps what we could do is continue this variance to a later date. You want just an open-ended continuance, so once you guys gotta have time and kind of get to it, or do you want to set a date specific?
Would the date be after, if the first phase was accepted, would it be at a future date, or would it be in the next 2 months?
Well,
whenever you get
what do you want to do? Once
information.
you think you got the information to bring it forward?
Get a tracking analysis done probably by the end of the day.
Well,
Not hard to do.
yeah, but I mean, it might be that you want to hold it until you come up here for something else.
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
So you're not dragging the engineer up for.
I'll talk to Tanya.
I know he does it for free, but yeah, okay.
I'll work with Tanya and set up
All right.
a date.
So
Say it expires within 1 year of application.
yeah,
It doesn't come
right.
back.
Okay. All right. So
Okay, I'll make a motion to table it,
continue it.
continue it. Okay. Continue it until
Tell the proponents wish to bring it back.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion to continue action on this variance request signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Move on to the next variance request, which is lots 1 through 8 of Summit View Development. did have, go ahead and you guys present on this one where you're at on it, and then.
Yep. So this was the storage for 70,000 gallon storage. Before I even started looking at the development side, I just want to make sure, like I want to make sure that the water is sustainable, safe, and it's long-term sustainable. So that's why I hired AE2S, because that's kind of their bread and butter is the water systems. So I had them do an analysis, and within the analysis, they looked at the current water plans, the future water plans on the east, and then possibly Darren Howie's on the west if he develops some land that he's looking at developing. So within the study, there was a few things that that needed improved for both new developments and the storage. I think when we were looking through the storage requirements within the county, 7.5.1, it really wasn't clear on water storage for what the county required. So AE2S went through a deep study, and I think that's what's included in the tech memo. Within the ordinance, it reads, in instances where the well is not capable of producing the required GPM as outlined, water storage shall be required, and then it breaks down the water storage. Within their study, they determined what the gallons per minute should be increased to, which is 150, which the state has recommended approval on. We applied for that back in February. And then within the study, they also determined 70,000 gallon storage is what they recommended. And that was because to make it more, if there was more storage sitting long term within the winter, it could damage the tanks. You'd have water that'd be harder to treat because you're having less water being used. And just while watching over the water system, the softeners go through about 2 bags a day in the winter over the course of 3-4 days. On the weekends in the summer, it's 4 or 5 bags a day to every 2 days. So the summer, it's double the amount of water going through. So that water is just going to sit in the tanks for an extended period of time. And within the analysis, they looked at the fire.
Following the National Fire Protection Agency's guidance for an hour of sustained use plus 20% of the peak day operating requirements. The storage that we looked at that falls in line with 10 state standards, which was a reduction from the original, or from what county would require. And yeah, as John said, the main concern is water age in the winter. We'd be looking at from what now is probably about 3/4 of a day to going to a day and a half to almost 2 days of water storage, water age in the system. With their treatment methods, they would look at complications and would likely need some additional refinement within their system to be still delivering safe water.
I've worked pretty close with Casey and, on the water side and then Daniel on the engineering side. I just drew a blank on it.
Staff, can you provide some? I mean, I'm a bit confused here because, I mean, are we in a situation where you're asking us because you're getting it from a third party, not to make sure the third party is in compliance with the county based on the number of lots? I mean, I'm a little troubled by what, so I've got a third party provides me water. I can say, well, he doesn't have to meet, but if it's the same developer, he has to meet. Am I following this correctly, or am I missing something? Because we've required developers to get more lots to meet the spec.
Right.
And water age, I mean, in the winter is just a matter of adjusting your pumping and your retention, change your float.
Unless you have to have so much fire storage on hand, build your tanks up to a certain level.
Well, okay, so what are we, I'm not sure I follow what we're doing here. We're giving we're not gonna make the system comply, but if it's the same developer, we would, or?
So, and just to clarify, this is kind of where I was going previously. Within the ordinances, there was no set storage amount for for an existing system for an expansion, and that's where like the confusion kind of was within that ordinance 7.51, is.
Well,
we didn't know what the storage was, so that's why we applied for
we
the
not have. Okay. Well, then I'm totally confused. So.
Yeah, and that's kind of why we were kind of like, do we do a variance? Do we not? But there's nothing really clear on an existing system that you're expanding on what's required for storage.
Was this not part of the master plan? You guys want to put this thing out to 58 lots over how long of a period?
So I think that's Darren Howie's is 58 lots on it. Mine's 43 lots.
Okay, so more than 30 lots. I'm looking here at community water systems.
And we are, just to clarify, we are looking to add additional storage to the system.
Okay, so right now you have a 30,000 gallon tank on site.
Correct. And we're looking to add another 40,000 gallons before full build out.
Okay. So the 30,000 gallon water tank on site easily takes care of the 8 houses you're going to build during your first phase.
Correct.
And the current houses that are in Bridal Ridge development.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of houses.
Yeah. So the reason I'm concerned is that this water issue is not just you guys. We've had several issues with several developers who've had issues with water hookups, water pressure, water quality, and stuff like that. But I'm just trying to make sure I understand your train of thought here. You want to add to the infrastructure required by our ordinances as best you can as you develop your lots out, right, instead of putting the infrastructure in place before the lots are developed. As far as the storage facilities, you don't want to put in another 40,000 gallon tank until you're very close to when you're going to start tapping into it and stuff.
Correct. And but the variance is just for the storage because there's nothing really outlined for what the storage should be.
Mm-hmm. But if you average 300 gallons of water per household, and you got 8 houses, isn't that telling me that's 2,400 gallons of water per day? And if you need to divide that for at least 1 week, that's 2,400 times 7. Who's got the math? 2,400 times 7. Give it to me, see. Yeah. Do. So that's half of your 30,000 gallons.
Correct. But at the same time, we're increasing our gallons per minute from the state to 150 gallons per minute, which is also supplying. And I'm not specialized in the water system, but I might be freely speaking. But that was kind of then the reasoning too why we increased from their current 50 gallons per minute to 150 gallons per minute, and also the storage. It's kind of a dual, like they're increasing the gallons per minute and the storage, which both will go into effect.
Yeah, okay. I got a little concerned because you were talking about water expiration or, dated water during the winter or something like that. But what about with the fire departments? Because I know Stan probably has some comment on that there has to be a minimum amount of water per site storage at the fire departments. But that still doesn't always meet our ordinance requirements. We've actually had that happen where people say, I talked to the local fire department. They said we're good with 20 gallons per minute, and you guys require more than that. And so we're going to go with their recommendation.
Yeah, we did send it to the fire department. He didn't bring up any concerns. He did bring up 2 or 3 questions.
Well, Tanya, you say in your recommendations here, we're looking for some guidance from us. You're going to have to point me in a certain direction because there's like 3 different directions going here.
So the variance is to ordinance 33, section 511. Where the water storage should be 300 gallons per household with a minimum of 3 days. We don't outline what that gallons per flow is. So I have had HDR engineer look at this. I know Casey has looked at it. The standard industry is 100 gallons per day with 2.5 people per household. That's the standard. We went to the 10-state standard also. So it's just a variance because we don't give them direction on. That's where we lack in our order.
So our baseline is 10 days.
Yes, we have a storage standard.
We have a storage standard as 300 gallons.
Right, but what they're trying to argue is we should instead just be satisfied with the storage plus pump standard. That's the proposal on it.
Reduction from the 300 gallon, not just, we're planning to increase the overall capacity, just not to the level of the 300 gallon.
Yeah. So but the way you're looking at it, like fire flow and things like that, you're counting the actual production.
I do not believe we are in the initial because he does not have a generator in place.
That's the second part of it. There's no generator.
Okay,
So
when
the
we
form of
generally,
intent, they brought that up.
so when do we usually have generator required? How many?
30 lots or greater.
Because there's a developer we held up for quite a while because he didn't have a generator.
And I will be putting a generator in place.
But during the form of intent, my understanding was they're going to put it in place during final plat of 8 lots.
So
That
why
would be-
why does he need a variance for the generator if he's going to have it in place before the lots are done and before they're for sale?
No variance for the generator, just a variance for the storage.
Because I've heard that before, and then I don't have it.
Well, I mean, but then that's on him. I mean,
It is.
otherwise, I mean, I'm more concerned about us giving the variance and then just never getting it done. Okay. Go ahead, Mike.
I'm
Anybody
not the
else?
only one here. There's a whole side of that table that can open their mouth.
Yes. You just have that intense look whenever I look over that way.
Actually, I just need
Nancy
that 2 minutes.
smiles at me, and so I figure she's happy.
Can I get a 2-minute break to run out real quick?
Yeah. So, why don't we take a 5-minute break? We'll come back at 10 till. About by that clock, it would be a 10-minute break. Why don't we do that, and we can kind of look at some of this stuff, figure it out. All right, want to call this back to order. We kind of left it with trying to figure out this storage question and make sure everybody understood what we're giving a variance for. So that was a question, but you can ask another one too.
Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm on the right page.
Lean up to your mic.
And so our ordinance requires the 300 gallons per household per day with 3 days, right? And so you're asking for an exception, but you're not telling us what you're asking for as the exception.
So right above that, the 7.5111, that first sentence, it reads as if it doesn't produce the required gallons per minute, then it would require 300 gallons per household per day with a minimum of 3 days storage. But we meet the gallons per minute. That's outlined by what AE2S has defined. Within the ordinances, it doesn't define an existing system's gallon per minute. So that's the reason we're kind of coming for the variance, is because we do meet the required gallons per minute based on what's been.
So going back to my question, what is, and where am I missing it? Obviously I'm missing it. Not the only one. What are you proposing to have in storage?
Oh, I see. So 70,000 gallons is what the recommended storage is, and that's what we're asking for, is to be able to move forward with 70,000 gallon storage.
Which would be 20% of the peak day demand, plus fire storage, is what comes out to that 70,000 gallons. Plus what, once the generator's in place, plus the demand that they can pump out of the well with their DANR approved water. That's for the whole subdivision, when fully built out and the generator's in place.
Okay, that helps clarify it. Thank you. Sorry. Other questions? Yeah, it kind of goes back. So basically, you're saying once you kind of consider the pumping rate, the 70,000 should be, because you've upped the pumping rate to make sure.
Correct. And then it'd be a combo effect if there was
Yeah, which, because as I understand, engineers kind of look at storage plus production to figure out what's going on now. The one issue you always run into, or the concern of there's one water source. You've talked about they're going to sink another well.
Yeah, so I have a lot that is designated for a future well lot up in the northeastern corner next to where the turn of the road is. It'd be that far northeast corner. I was going to designate that for the well lot. And then if Darren develops his 58 lots, he was going to designate a lot as well for a well lot for future if it was needed.
And then that lot's going to be transferred to the water system? An easement or what?
So I was going to put an easement on my 43 lots. Darren was going to give the well system a lot for a well. And I probably shouldn't be speaking on behalf of Darren, but that's kind of the correspondence that.
But as this development stands, we have to have 70,000 gallons on this development. 30,000 on this.
30 on the bridal. Okay.
So we're using another development storage capacity.
I understand.
Another water system entirely at the moment.
Water system you guys are hooking up to.
Correct.
Correct, but I mean it's not Summit View's water, so it is someone else's water.
Yeah,
Is that not the question?
Well, the developer does not own the water system.
Not currently. It is in the works to be purchased by myself.
Yeah.
Okay. So the variance is essentially a request to allow 70,000 gallons of storage to equate as long as you have pumping capacity.
Correct.
A succinct way of saying it.
I think the most succinct way we found so far.
Yeah. I think when we applied for the state, we applied for 120 to 150. I'm not sure if I know the exact gallons per minute that's required, but we shot higher. We shot for 150, but we didn't need 150. But yeah, that's kind of the gist.
More than less. It was 150 and this is 70. 150,000 gallon capacity, is that what you're saying?
No,
or
GPM?
GPM?
GPM. I think it was just under 110 is what Casey had analyzed it needed. We shot for 120 to 150, just be on the high side.
Backup booster for the generator, we're not asking for any variance based on the 150.
Casey, what's your report say is the production that you need?
Daniel.
Oh, Daniel. Yeah.
I did not write the water facility plan. I do mainly our stormwater and site layout and design. So I'm trying to find what production Casey had in his report.
Well, if I call you Daniel, will you be able to do the water stuff then?
While he's looking
Some
up,
of it.
While he's looking up that, yes, the generator will be in place before the final plat, before any houses are constructed, before I come back to you guys, I guess, for the final.
Yeah, so it just seems cleaner if you're going to give a variance to kind of have know what the numbers are going to be, because then there's not a dispute as to whether you're meeting it or not. Like, let's say the well goes bad, you can only produce 90. So I got the variance that just says I have to have a producing well plus storage, and that causes the issue. So
if we were to say 120.
If you're comfortable with 120,
yeah, I'm
that's fine.
With 120.
But I don't want to set a standard that's above the that just ties you to an artificially high standard that you get from the state, because you don't have your permit yet from the state.
They're in the process of it. It's been recommended for approval.
But you haven't been heard, it hasn't been granted. So I mean, this is conditioned on the grant.
Correct, until they finalize that, which I know they're in the process.
Currently permitted for 50 gallons per minute.
Okay, but what, based on those numbers, to say that you only need 70,000, you must have assumed a certain production capacity.
It was just over 100, so I would feel comfortable with saying 120. If the state approved, though.
So I'm reading on the top of page 22 of the report, and it says, at a minimum, both the total permitted volume and the allowable, I'm not going to be able to say, and the allowable well flow capacity will need approximately double. The water right permit should be increased to a minimum of 100 gallons per minute, with a preferred capacity of 150 gallons per minute. Reduce the frequency of well pump operation.
Yeah. So that's so you're not constantly running the pump.
But I thought you said the minimum was 110.
I thought it was 110. I think it said 100, right?
100.
I would feel comfortable with 120, 110. I applied through the state for 120 to 150.
Okay.
If they gave me my minimum.
All right, so what you're asking for, if I'm following it correctly, is that that we give you a variance allowing that you can approving the water system as long as it has 70,000 gallons of storage and production capacity at 120 gallons a minute.
Correct.
Okay. Is there anybody else to speak to this variance? Yeah, sir, you want to come up?
Hi, my name is Keith Roloff, and I'm a water user in Bridle Ridge subdivision. Just for some clarification, They're gonna tune the pumps from 50 gallons a minute up to 120 gallons a minute.
My guess is they probably have to replace a pump.
Did they replace them?
Have they yet?
Yeah.
No.
Because we already got a lot of people got low water pressure already. There's being water pumped from the wells on the Bridle Ridge, clear across Elkvale, across the pasture, probably 3/4 of a mile, plus servicing all the homes in the Parmel Loop and the Bridle Ridge. You know, people got low water pressure already. We just don't want to run out of water. Are they going to be replaced before these new homes go in? So they're only running the pumps at 1/3 of their capacity.
Hey, is that a statement or a question, sir?
Both.
Well, but
A question.
Those are
Are they running the pumps at 1/3? If you say they can be tuned up. But not before. Well, the residents of the current houses that are there are just concerned that we get low water pressure already. And if they start pumping it even further and filling up storage tanks, our pressure's going to drop. We don't have a storage tank on, as far as I know.
There is a ground storage tank.
Is there?
Yeah, there's a 30,000 or 23,500 gallon storage tank currently right by the well house, buried underground.
I'm not opposed to,
and
progress.
Yeah.
We're just concerned that we're going to run out of water. Because right now, okay, you said everything's based off of 300 gallons a day per household. Well, 300 times 30 is 9,000 gallons, right? That's the number. Well, then you take summertime when people got their sprinklers running. That far exceeds.
Yep, and
That's
that's our
300 gallons.
peaking factor, typically of 2.5, that we use to calculate peak day demand.
But that's still, not 9,000, 10,000 gallons per house. But if you're sprinkling, they're using a lot more water. Than.
Just to clarify, because we did have a gentleman talk last week to us after the fact, that said the same thing with low pressure. Is the low pressure a consistent issue, or is that something that occurs just intermittently? He made it sound like it was an intermittent thing, which sounds like an operational error.
Okay. In our experience, when we first moved into our house, we had higher than we do now. We can't run 2 sprinklers. It's oscillating. We can't run 2 sprinklers at once. Because of lack of water or lack of water pressure.
Because I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm just, from our calculations, the whole system should be at 60 to 70 plus. The minimum point in the system should be at 60 psi. Should be more than sufficient. So I can't speak to how the system is being operated specifically. But the system does have enough pressure and capacity to be serving this development plus the 8 lots that we are proposing. And I do have that math to show
10-acre lots across the road are going to be using a lot more water. Because they're going to have horses and ponies and goats and chickens and.
Yeah. So, ma'am, just a second. We'll let this gentleman finish, then you can come up and make your points. One point I would make is we got to be careful when we talk about pumps, because if it's a ground storage pump, there's a pump that pumps the water into the tank, and then there what was referred to as a pressurizing pump that pumps the water out of the tank to pressurize your guys' system. So
I'm well aware of that.
I think what the comment is that your engineering study is based on what size the pumps are and what size the mains are and whatnot, and whether it's being properly set is not something that you're looking at early.
Yeah, that was not a part of our evaluation. Overall capacity and looking at what it's capable of.
Is it downhill or?
Right.
Well, it's downhill to my house. To them, so it's not really much at all.
Other questions or comments, sir?
I just want to just make the right decision. You know, we don't want to lose any more water pressure. We don't want the well to go dry. And we're not against progress. You know, we don't run out of water.
Yeah. The other comment out there that was made earlier on this is there might be sometimes when these systems start earlier, they put PRVs, pressure reducing valves, at your meter point. And that might, when there's just beginning house, when it's the first houses, so there might be some
At the
PRVs.
house?
Yeah.
There's no pressure.
Okay. Okay. Another issue that comes up that I've seen happen occasionally. Ma'am, did you want to come up and say a couple things? Yeah, if you give up your chair for this
Thank
lady to come up. Thanks for coming and your comment.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Krista Pickett. I also live in the Bridal Ridge subdivision. I'm newer out there. We've been there 2 years. I can speak for water pressure as well. Our front spigot to outside runs better than the back spigot. And when you're trying to, we have 1 acre lots out there, not watering even the entire acre just around the house. It makes it pretty difficult when you don't have the water pressure to pump the sprinklers to water the grass. I'm concerned, like Keith, water has been an issue out in the Box Elder area as anyway, and now we've got the 10 acre lots going across the way from our division, and they're going to have cattle. Probably not going to water the 10 acres, but that's a lot of water per lot. And I'm concerned that, you know, if we don't put it in, okay, when is you say that it's going to happen after this. But how is that a guarantee to the people that already live out there?
Yeah, so the improvements, he has to bond for them and has to complete them before he can get a final plat to sell the lot. He's either got to build them or bond them, so we'll require that. So if the improvements he's representing here, or he's going to have the permit, the pumps in place, before he gets the plat.
So the first 8 lots, it's going to happen before then or after that, or just kind of see how it goes?
You got a clarification on that?
The generator will be installed before the first 8 lots, plus the securing of the additional water rights from DANR. Additional storage requirements will follow after the first.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, a distribution pipe to pressurize the water line. Is that what you're saying? From the existing location?
So just for clarification, there will be a 70,000 gallon versus our 30,000 that is going to be installed or redug?
There'll be an additional 40 for a total of 70, if I'm following this correctly.
Correct.
So we'll have a total of 70,000
gallons by the time or it's fully built out.
The current tank, though, that you stated that Bridal Ridge has is 23,500.
That's the correct.
So the new tank that you're putting in will have to be over the 40. But that won't address a pressure issue. That they're just filling the tanks. The pressure issue is going to most likely have to come within the development, whoever you pay your water to, address it with them. Because these gentlemen do not own the water system.
Did one of them say that they're looking to buy it, though?
I believe one of them stated that earlier,
Okay.
but I don't know for a fact.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's a certified operator, would be, yeah, so Sage Water would be the certified operator, not the owner. State law requires you to have a certified operator. They're the operator, they're the certified operator.
That's all I have.
Thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
Other people that wish to comment? Yeah. Jump back in the hot seat. Okay. Questions, comments based on what from audience or follow-up? Staff, anything?
If this does go forward with a vote, unanimous vote, can we ensure that the commission hears it? The concerns, I mean, there's fair concerns, I think, with it. Or is the only one way to come off the consent calendar would be a no vote?
Let's hit consent, given the number of lots, it's only 8, so.
This variance will hit the planning board agenda. I don't on consent. Variances aren't on consent. Only the preliminary plat is on consent.
Yeah.
So the commission will hear it.
Yes. The commission will have to act on it.
Yes.
Okay. All right, other questions, comments?
One more question. Does the fire district have aware of a minimum pressure that's required in their system?
So we received a fire letter back from Pennington County. It's not within their jurisdiction. I do not have anything from the fire department.
And the county doesn't have a standard for that?
It's gone around to Box Elder, then it went to Pennington. Now it's, the last thing I heard was
We usually have North Haynes, who sent us to Box Elder, who sent us to Pennington County,
kind of been run around.
who reviewed it, and then now sent it to North Haynes.
Well, it seems like they should have something in their standard operating procedures that talks about minimum pressure for their system.
When I sent it to Pennington County, which I went into his office, he had told me that they help some of these outlying facilities, like North Haynes and Box Elder, because they're volunteers. He reviewed it. He didn't bring up any concerns on the pressure. He did ask for clarification if our analysis was done for the whole development, or if it was just for this 43 lot. And maybe he's trying to pawn it off on North Haynes now, knowing that Darren's on the other side. Because North Haynes, or not North Haynes, Elkville is the boundary between Box Elder and North Haynes. So we're on both fire departments.
Double the coverage.
The water system covers is on both sides of that road.
Yeah.
Your development's not, but.
Correct.
Yeah, there is some state standard minimum pressure for resident water systems. Those tend to be that the pressure tends to be set at the lot line as opposed to in the house, because a lot of variables on the private ground that can change the pressure.
But an approved water system, a community system like this, and correct me if I'm wrong, would have to have some kind of minimum delivery pressure to the structure itself. So it's not just to the subdivision, but to each individual structure. There's got to be a number there that says you're going to meet, a 30 psi or something like that.
Yeah, rule of thumb for DANR is 40 psi at the top.
at the tap of the main.
At the tap per residence.
Per residence,
Correct.
yes.
Okay.
And that's one thing that Casey had identified early on in this, the whole process. And that's when he noticed that the high PSI would be at the bottom of the hill. I don't know if there was, I don't believe there was any issues that I heard of.
Eat a frog.
Page 20 is the PSI map.
You know, we've had this issue come up before with another subdivision, and they justified their situation by saying they meet the volunteer fire department requirements, but it was still short of our ordinance requirements. Obviously, we would like to defer to our ordinance requirements, not necessarily volunteer fire department for the standards set countywide. But 20 PSI was the number that they were using as a bare minimum.
And we meet and exceed that everywhere on the system. As long as as long as the pumps coming out of the tank are firing properly.
And you got fire hydrant layouts within the 400 feet requirements, all that fun stuff?
Correct.
Well, it seems like it'd be pretty easy to hook a meter up to a hydrant out there and get a reading on what pressure you are getting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But nobody's done that.
That was not part of our study.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Additional questions, comments, thoughts?
I just want to make sure I'm understanding exactly what we're talking about, because obviously we've been going way around the map. You are looking for a variance that will allow your subdivision, and this is for the 43 homes, not the 52, or is it for all of them?
43.
The 43 home subdivision to rely on existing system rather than meeting the ordinance requirements for water storage capacity and backup power/pumping infrastructure required for community water systems serving subdivisions of this size of 30 or more. But you are telling me also that you are going to have a backup generator in place, everything else all ready to go. So the only real requirement is that we're talking about is how much water you have in storage.
Correct.
And you want it to stop at 70,000 gallons instead of putting up to 150,000 gallons. Does that pretty much wrap this thing up?
Well, you're also going to want it tied to having the production ability of a minimum of 120 gallons, because that's why they say we can use less storage because we're upping our production ability.
So they're trying to say they're just-in-time service, which replenishment rate is what's making up for the lack of having additional storage space.
Yeah, I mean but a lot of systems are judged based on that. That's what they're asking. It's a bit of, you don't deplete it, you can actually produce it along the way too. It's generally looked at as a combination. It's often looked at as a combination. Now it's like the generator. I mean, if they had elevated storage, they could forego the generator if they would elevate their storage, but they're going to need the generator because pull it out of the ground because they got an underground trade-off.
Tanya, you got anything to add to help us weigh our decision appropriately?
Yeah. Earlier you said she was happy, and you've.
Well, I can't see this. She ain't smiling at me.
So,
for me, I'm a little apprehensive on the data. As Christian, as you pointed out, that I'd like to see what the real-world pressure is at a hydrant there. But also, I do know that you provided some data here today too. But I don't know necessarily if I'm comfortable with that data.
Request that stuff gets, do that data ahead of time and come back next month with this variance with the answers to.
I think that would be fair.
Well, if you're going to do that, you got to be specific as what data.
I know. Yeah.
I feel like we have the data.
Yeah,
I don't know what else to get.
So
Yeah.
Christian, if I'm understanding, you're talking about tying into a hydrant that's currently in Bridle Ridge to see what the
Well, I think that would be one part of it. I mean, then you can probably do some calculations based off of that to show further expansion of the system.
When the term hydrant is used, what do you mean? I mean, assume they have flushing hydrants out there. Is that what they have, or they have? Your pressure is really going to come at your pump, or some location on a tap off the pump. Because what your pressure is, the question of pressure is on your main, not in the house.
Fire hydrant, that is.
I don't know if you have fire hydrants out there.
There is some in Bridle Ridge.
I think
go ahead.
my issue with worrying about, and I agree, I'm huge on fire protection, okay? My issue though with that is storage, I mean, the 120
gallons per minute
into the tank, and then after that there's other stuff getting the pressure out
Right.
to everybody else. So really, to me, I've kind of got blinders on, and I'm looking at, are we going to approve the storage based on the increased production going into the storage? Beyond that, I hear you guys back here. I hear Stan, because I'm on the same page as him with fire protection. But to me, we're adding stuff that's not part of this question.
I can add a little bit of clarity. So there is one 40 horsepower fire pump designed to do 310 gallons per minute. This is set aside for pump flow. So when peak demand hits and they start pulling water and starts dropping your pressure, there's an additional pump that kicks on in the system to provide additional pressure. That's not going anywhere. And then there's currently two 3 horsepower pumps that flow at 40 gallons per minute, and that's the everyday system pressure.
We would add one more of those, which would increase the distribution. That's the distribution. The fire
Distribution out of the whole.
Yep. The fire pump is not included in any of the 120, 150, 70,000. That's just if there's a fire, that pump kicks on and helps with the fire.
But you can say that, and that you'll do that, but there's nothing here today that we can hold you to that. All we can do is say that you're going to ensure that you have enough capacity for this development.
Yep, and that's what we have a letter from the...
We have no control over the pressures. That's up to the water system, whoever maintains and manages and everything with the water system. There's not much we can do to help out these individuals as far as water pressure goes. All we can cover is capacity.
As the water system's developed and they come in before final, it all has to be approved by DNR. Their water plans, their specs, the whole 9 yards. It's a public water system. So the whole thing will be reviewed by them, approved before they ever get to us. We do have a checklist that they have to go through. Trying to find it real quick.
Well, I guess one of my concerns based on that would be is that if we tell these guys something and it goes up to DNR and they're like, what the F? Who said you guys can do this? It's going to come back and say, well, the county commission, planning commission said we could do it at the county level.
And these will be engineered stamped. Like I don't think any of us are quite professionals in the, like I know I'm not, but that's why I hired these guys. So with them stamping it, I don't know.
I mean, we do have sound justification for what we're stating for the additional storage. I mean, we're taking standards that are used all across the upper Midwest, and we're applying those. We are also, the variance is really because we don't have the water rights secured currently, and the generator isn't there in place currently. If both of those were in hand at the moment, this variance wouldn't be being requested.
I probably would, just because of the water
But I mean, you would still be following ordinances as far
Yes,
as,
right. I see what you're saying.
having, by the pump, by the way the ordinance reads, by having the pump be able to supply the 120 gallons per minute plus the 30,000 gallons, approximate 30,000 gallons that are on site, we would be meeting ordinances for those 8 lots.
Currently, we meet the ordinance.
No chance you could just stop at 8 lots, don't build any more. That'll make everybody else happy back there, too.
Second guess it, yeah.
Tanya, does DNR have any storage requirements?
Yeah, they have a requirement if you had so many connections, you have to have
So much storage.
storage and or production.
Yes. I don't have any concerns from the water system side with the we work with the A&R quite a lot with different funding applications, water systems all across the Black Hills. It's not our policy to go against what they're looking for. End of the day, I want everyone to have good water at their home, have good pressure, and I am sorry to hear that you guys don't have good water pressure. I absolutely think you should take that up with your current water supplier.
Developer will choose someone to install it. I don't know if it's been decided yet, but it wouldn't be Sage Water. Sage Water wouldn't install them. I don't think they install them.
I don't think they do water tanks. Yeah, so with the developer as the contract, will contract that work done. Well, the waters, I don't know if it's, then the water, you guys have to put it in and then the water system takes it over. Yeah,
that's how it would be.
Yeah, it's not unusual. I mean, this even the way the city operates is sometimes with developers, they'll make them put in the infrastructure, and then the city will take over the infrastructure once installed.
If I personally think it could be the pressure release, the valves that they put at the houses, because if they don't have one, Darren Howie told me each house needs one. It's state code. So if you don't have one, it's probably just not known where it's at, is my assumption. I don't know, but that's just my assumption.
Yeah. Other thoughts or questions that might have risen based on?
We've been down this road with another subdivision in water, and I just want to make sure if we're going to follow the precedent that we set with Golden Valley when it came to their development requirements and requests that came before us when I first started on the board. We have to be equitable when it comes to our decision-making process. It sounds like they are going to meet or exceed the spirit of the ordinances, but obviously requesting a variance means they're not going to meet the letter of the ordinance.
Okay. Other comments, questions, motions?
I would move to approve the ordinance based on with Ordinance 33, Article 7.5, with the stipulation that the approval from the state does provide for at least 120 gallons per minute, and that the generator is also installed prior to activation of the system.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded to approve the variance regarding storage based on them having the capability of producing a minimum of 120 gallons a minute, and then adding the 40,000 when necessary. Am I following that correctly? Okay.
Maybe total of 70,000, not 40.
Total of 70.
Yeah, adding 40,000 for a total of 70. That's and I would say that the capacity would include making sure the pumps are big enough to produce that. And I'm assuming you must have already looked at well holes enough. You just need a bigger pump. You're not going to need to sink another well or anything, or punch another hole. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So we have a motion. Discussion on the motion.
Do we know if the county commissioner wants to say anything on this thing? He's sitting back there. We had this happen in the past.
He has election tomorrow. He doesn't want to say a thing.
He's like you.
Me too.
He's just learning. See, this way when he's here, then I don't have to say anything. He can present on it in front of the county commission.
No. We had a commissioner in here before. We had a contentious issue, and you recognized that commissioner, and the commissioner came up and gave us a couple of words of wisdom.
He's much easier to recognize, though. All right. Seeing no further discussion except for Mike picking on me. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay, so that passes unanimously. I want to thank you guys for coming in and let us know on the issue of pressure. Generally, that's the water operator's issue, and I think you should also. I've worked with Sage Waterworks. He cares a lot about how his systems works. I mean, you might even raise it with Sage to come out and check your, say that you've been having problems with pressure, and next time he's out there, he might take a look at it too. So, all right. I didn't make the motion, so.
So that yes, essentially that the state approves a minimum of 120.
Minimum.
Minimum.
I think that maybe the confusion came when I was clarifying it, is that 120 has to be the ability to produce too, not just the permitting is what you meant.
I guess the assumption would be that they would produce that if they were allowed to do that.
Yes, but yeah, so there's a lag time because they get the permit and they still have to drop off a pump sufficient to produce that kind of thing. So,
yeah,
just so everybody understands that. All right.
Are you good on that?
Okay. We'll play with it. Wow. Variance request H. The Kinsler Estates. This appears to be the similar variance that we granted earlier, just as a set aside on the. Go ahead, Shannon. Tell me what we're supposed to do for you here.
Yes, that's correct.
This is that you
Same
don't.
as last one.
It's ordinance 20 requires it to be built to ordinance 10 technical requirements. We're asking that off of ordinance 10.
The 140, the variance we've already given for the purposes of platting. This
We'll leave
is
it
for
at
the purpose.
22 foot.
Yeah. All right. So,
I'll make a motion to.
Anybody here else to speak to this variance? Seeing none. Stan has to say something.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented here.
Second.
Moving seconded to, based on the fact that we've given the same, the variance in the platting to recommend this variance. Any discussions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 No, sit down.
Anybody opposed? Okay, that passed unanimously. Okay, item 5A, move to category 6, business agenda.
It was moved because it was in the wrong category, so we just go to 5B, please.
Okay. 5B, preliminary plat, lots 1A, 1B. This is the one off of Elk Creek, I believe.
This is the one, yes, off 139th in Elk Creek.
Okay, go ahead, Shannon, tell us what we're doing.
Okay, so today, or this one, we're looking for preliminary plat approval of Lot 1A and 1B in the well lot of Bashan subdivision. Just to get everybody up to speed, the only thing we're really waiting on is for the well pump installed. There's an existing well pump's being installed, but the well driller's kind of shuffling his feet a little here. So everything else is, and we're just waiting for that to bring back as a final plat. So I guess if I could ask for approval of the prelim contingent upon those final documents from the well being produced.
And showing that the well would meet the standards for the shared well.
Yes, yep.
Okay, questions? Anybody here to speak to this plat? Seeing none, motions. Well, he made that last motion.
I'll do this one as well.
Oh, look at that.
I make a motion to approve item 5B, preliminary plat of lot 1A and 1B for the well lot and dedication of the right-of-way.
Contingent upon him securing the well production information.
Correct.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All right, discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? All right, there you go, Shannon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Preliminary plats 1 through 4 of Kinsler. This is the one we've been talking about.
So this is the prelim plat that you can see our new configuration. I'm not sure if you guys remember the first, but we had 4 lots up front on fronting Highway 34. But this proposal has got 3 lots fronting off Highway 34 with an access. We have 1 existing approach on Lot 2 that already exist, and then lots 3 and 4 will share a new approved approach location. So Lot 1 will use its existing approach off 140th. No changes there. So we do have Bear Butte Valley Water. The lots will be provided water through Bear Butte Valley Water Association, which we do have that letter in the packet, as well as I think we met all the, well, we have just a couple, like a mailbox cluster we got to figure out with the postal service, but things like that. So, but we will have all that figured before a final plat would ever be presented. So.
Okay. Staff, do you have some recommended contingencies here? Anything else, given that we've talked about this multiple times now today?
With the water, surface drainage, and this board brings up, I would like to see that a perk through geotech be done on one of the lots to see where the water truly is. Perk test on the lots to see if we're actually going to perk, if we're going to end up with mound systems, or if we're going to end up with perk test that was provided does not give a location of where it was at. That would be my recommendation, just have actual buildable sites and maybe a buildable site located on all 4 lots, or on the 3 bottom for sure.
Yeah, do we have flood elevations in the area of the lots either? Okay. Yeah, because I know in some of these we've also restricted no basements too, but maybe that's, I guess we could see where the water table sits. Or, I guess you could say basements, but you'd need drainage system, sump pump requirement for the house.
Yeah, you say you just want perk tests on just one of those 3 lots? can you assign one? Because they may do all 3 lots and take, no offense, Shannon, they may do all 3 lots and say, hey, these are the best numbers, give them those, not those.
I'd probably say lot 4 where it backs up against 140th. Where the buildable site is the geotech report. Well, boring comes in with the perk.
And you're going to set the standards for that perk test, how deep they, and how many places, and how far apart and everything.
And you want a geotech on that? All lots or?
Lot 4 is fine.
Okay.
Since that's where it seems the water backs up and the photo shows that's where the majority of the water is.
Okay. And then we had put on a contingency on the variance requiring that the 140 be improved before any further subdivision of Lot 1. I think we'd want to add that to the plat too. At least to be my thoughts. Let me ask quick, is there anybody else here to speak to this? On any other questions or
Is there enough distance between 140 and the proposed dual access for lot 3 and 4? What's that total distance there?
That was approved by South Dakota DOT by the regional.
Looks like it's
So
564 feet.
Second packet, the DOT packet, has all the requirements.
Is there a reason why it's all on lot 3 and not split? The easement itself?
Probably to get the approach further back from the corner.
That's what I'm wondering.
I think at 100% it comes down to a distance. Number from the intersection.
So that distance then goes back to my first question. It sounds like they had to make an exception to approve that already, which they did.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Typically, it's required as 100 foot from approach to approach. They approved 564. They're both listed.
Yeah. Other questions? All right. Sit here and wait patiently for somebody to do.
I'll make a motion then. And I'll,
what might that motion be?
That motion will be to approve with staff recommendations that is in our packet here, the 1 through 7, and that there be a geotech and a perk test on lot 4, and that the other one, to add to the plat that no further subdivision
of lot
1 until 140th is improved, brought up to county spec.
Okay. Moved and seconded. Discussions on the motion. Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Passes. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
New business. Preliminary plats, lot 14R, block 7, Weston Heights.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay. I'm Jay Evanson from Weston Heights Homeowners Association and the Weston Heights Sanitation Paving District.
Okay, what are you asking us to do here today?
The 2 lots that you see there on the diagram, we're looking at combining those into 1 lot.
Basically doubling the size of your utility lot, or is it for other use?
It would be added to the, I'll call it a residential lot, the one next to it. The utility lot was originally platted, I guess, when the development was started back in the early 70s. I'm not sure why it was called a utility lot. When we looked at it, when we built the new water tank in the water system here this year, we looked at using that for the water tower lot, but it was too small and it was too close to homes. So that lot sits there empty, not of any use to anything. So when we completed the new sewer line system down Susan Street there and installed all the utilities this year and paved that road, it only made sense to combine that with the with that last residential lot there at the end.
And so the idea would just be it's going to be one big residential lot.
Yes.
Okay. Questions, comments? Is anybody here to speak to this plat?
Okay to motion?
If there's nobody jumping else. Yeah.
I motion that we approve the preliminary minor plat to create Lot 14R of Block 7 Weston Heights subdivision.
Okay, I'll give it to Scott. Moved and seconded. Discussions on the motion. Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passed unanimously. Thanks for your patience today.
Thank you.
Go to 6B, preliminary plats, Lot 12R and 16R, Block 5, Northdale. Go ahead and introduce yourself and
Yeah, thank you, members of the Planning Commission. My name's Cale. I'm with Long Branch Civil Engineering. I represent the petitioner on this matter. The petitioner is available as well if there's additional questions beyond what I can hopefully answer for you. You want on this one? So what we're looking at is a replat, and it's a little bit of a housekeeping replat. We have an existing residential lot which has a house on it that would get replatted into Lot 16R, Block 5. And that's a little, can we just go to the plat, please? So the residential lot fronts Saratoga Drive. It's currently serviced by municipal water and sewer, so got municipal access to the public utilities in that location. What we're looking at is a replat that would essentially add area to Lot 16R, but square up the commercial lot to the west. That would be that Lot 12R, which is the larger parcel. So it's kind of a land swap, if you will. You see that, ultimately some reconfiguration of the residential lot happens just in an effort to make the commercial lot to the west easier to access. Right now we're trying to get 100 feet of total depth on that lot to facilitate basically a front yard setback, or side yard setbacks, but the building install and some parking and trailer circulation out in front of it. To do that would require a reconfiguration of the lot line similar to what you're seeing. Can we down to the yeah, that's great. If you look at, and I apologize, it's a little hard to read with the topo turned on that, but really the goal of this, the individual that owns a residential lot that fronts Saratoga Drive, what we're trying to do is give her some additional property to the south. She would trade essentially a little triangular wedge off of her west property line. We would extend and give her the option or the ability to add on a garage addition by platting land out of the existing commercial lot and putting it into her property. So that ultimately is what's coming forth. The lot being created to the west also will take access off the municipal water and sewer infrastructure. So it's kind of we have complete, obviously the existing homeowners on board with the replat, as they're actually going to be gaining usable property as part of this replat. And it also works well for my client who's looking at the commercial property to the west as far as squaring up the lot and making it easier for him to use for his commercial enterprises. So I would stand for any questions you had regarding the plat. And additionally, do we want to discuss the side yards or discussed in the staff report? So, if I recall the staff report correctly, it looks like Saratoga Drive. If we looked at the bigger lot, the 6.4 acre lot that's on the plat, the larger lot, it fronts Saratoga Drive, and so the setback is actually off of Saratoga Drive. So if we look at, do you mind if we look at these lot lines, this is the dimension I was trying to describe it, 100 feet, and that's kind of the dimension we were looking for to get out of this. So if this is the frontage of the lot, then these are, rear yards and side yards. The 100 feet comes in because we have a building that's approximately 70 feet wide. This is kind of the intended building. And just to be able to get, trailer style turning and parking happening, if we back the building up to this lot line, we need a little depth out in front to be able to get vehicles turned around in that area. And when I talk about the residential lot, the house sits here, but if we replat and give this piece of ground to the residential lot, it affords the lady that owns the residential lot the opportunity to do a garage style addition. And we take this wedge of land out of her residential lot, and we leave this lot line alone, or we actually move this lot line here, so we give the residential lot this wedge of land and that wedge of land and put it into the residential and take this triangle out. That's where the net gain in square footage works out for the residents. But the issue that we have is, what do we consider the setbacks to the residential lot off of Saratoga? Obviously this is the front Saratoga. But if we look at these property lines, the house has a deck on it, and the deck's attached. When I look at the setback from that property line to the attached ground level deck, it's 22.5 feet. And we're looking for direction on, is this a side yard and this is the rear yard, or are these rear yards and these are side yards? So I think ultimately that's what our discussion was for today. Is this are we asking for, do we need to come forward in a variance sense, or can we treat it as a side yard knowing that the setback to the house is well over 35 feet? We're talking about a setback to a ground level deck.
So the front setbacks,
we meet the front setback with no issue.
Yeah, because front setback would be 25, but you're 30 some back. But if it's a back, just from the way the house is orientated, I think you probably need a variance because you need 25 setback from the back lot line.
Right, that's right. With these not being traditional
Yeah, it's not square.
lots, it makes it harder to do setbacks, so we didn't know during the plating process if we could identify the setbacks, and then would variances need to be added to that, or could we just the variance establish where they're at and no variance?
Yeah, so, and for your other lot, is there a question on the setback there? Cause
nope.
Because you had to have a 25, because it fronts to the west, and that's the road it's going to use, I'm assuming. Probably not going to use Saratoga Drive for the commercial lot as a primary access.
It's not I don't believe that's a dedicated street.
Well, I don't know what's your access for your...
It jumps over the... But I think ultimately you're going to see access come off of this.
Access comes off of Merritt API Road, yes.
Yeah.
To access. Or two. Where you have. So just the easements, the setbacks are the hard question of where to establish them all.
Mm.
So I'd rather establish them on the plat.
Yeah, agreed.
Long term than guessing all
Yeah, so that Merritt Road's that a private?
the time. It is public.
Okay, well, to me, Merritt seems to be the better frontage for the front of the commercial one.
Light blue lines are the two lots in question. Merritt and Ampey Road are down here, and this is Saratoga that comes around. My understanding is this lot would be accessed off of this one. Merritt sits here, which is a dedicated public right-of-way. Ampey, I don't know if it is or not. Comes in off of Pennington County side, so I'd have to get some off of Pennington.
Yeah, and it shows up in our
Okay.
plat. That's a party to it, but yeah, it's not. There's actually just an easement on there while it gets used in that function.
Sir, go ahead and identify yourself.
Yeah, my name's Mike Roth. I'm the property owner there that we're talking about here. I'm the guy that's applying for this variance, I guess. And so that road, that chunk of land is adjacent to the road that's called Appy Road. It's a 66-foot wide private access easement. Comes off of Merritt Road, so that's 66 feet wide, and it runs north and south. That road that you can see right there in that picture, it is a 66-foot wide dedicated private access easement for all of the property to the north of that.
But as far as setbacks, when Saratoga and the Appy, it'd be 25 feet from both. Wouldn't that be your setbacks? One would be the front, one would be the back anyway? Or vice versa?
I guess I assume the setback would be off of Saratoga. That would be the front yard because that's where it butts the public right of way. And since it's an access easement to the back, well, we would use it as access. I don't know.
But is your setback different between front and back?
No, they're both 25.
Well, then, so what do you care?
Yeah, probably. It doesn't ultimately matter.
I mean, I don't care as long as, because your question was, what's the setbacks? And
We were really just wondering about it on the residential lot.
Okay.
So 'cause on commercial, we don't have zoning, so commercial, we don't have zero setbacks, or not unless we determine this lot to be commercial with zero setbacks, like we did on the stuff to the west side, which is platted that way.
We gave a variance for that, is what you're saying?
Oh, the plat was dedicated that way.
Well, yeah, I think you need a setback off of Sarah. Doesn't make any sense.
So this line here would be the rear. The long line running north and south is the rear. Side, side,
Yeah,
side, and
so,
this is the
just
front.
so we're clear, those are drainage easements. Those aren't, they're showing on the foot. So, yeah, just so nobody thinks that.
Oh, yep.
That's where I was getting confused there for a while because everything at 8.
So then ultimately that would be our direction is to bring forward a variance to the 2.5 feet to a rear yard setback for the residential.
I think we've made a lot of people down in that Blackhawk area do that. On building permits, I know we've required variances quite often.
So we would consider this one here setback to this house if it was platted, not this.
I would think so. I mean, I guess that's just me talking. Anybody else have a different thought? I mean,
We are way outside the boundary of this extraterritorial jurisdiction area of Somerset, their gray area border for this.
That has granted us to take this plat.
That was very nice of them.
Because we issue everything down there, so it was.
And what
Instead of
about
going through all the variances here, we just took the plat. It was just easier long term.
Okay.
We'll do the building permit, we'll do all of it.
Okay. And in
Yeah,
Penticton
I
County,
have a letter from Somerset stating that this could be all.
oh, I'm sorry I asked, sorry.
I think that really is the direction we were looking for. You know, obviously, the plat came forward with a staff recommendation for approval, which we're well pleased with, and we just needed some direction on whether we needed to apply for a variance to that rear yard setback to the deck. But just to be clear, it is a ground level deck, not the house. The house is well within the...
And the setbacks to the new lot.
So we'll bring forward that application.
Okay. Okay, so what action do we need to make here?
So the preliminary plat can move forward still, we'll just have to do variances. The final plat before the setbacks. Not like you want the setbacks to come before the final, so that
Okay, so you're looking for approval of preliminary plat, subject to them getting a variance for the setback on the ground deck. Anybody else here to speak to these plat today? Yeah. All right.
Preliminary plat with the understanding that they applied for the variance.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded to move forward the preliminary plat subject to securing a variance for the setback for the ground deck. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That passes. We'll go to 6C preliminary plats, lots 1 and 8 of Summit View. What are you gentlemen here for today?
Exhausted. He's beat me up too.
They're back. They're back.
Please, no more talk about pressures and waters and stuff.
All right, go ahead and give us what do we got going on?
This is just for the preliminary plat for the first 8 lots.
Okay. Staff, anything for direction on this first 8 lots that are conditions that we need to put in place?
No. My understanding is he's going to build everything instead of bond. Everything will be built, inspected, county standards and DNR and all their approvals in place before the final plat is presented.
We've seen this one that there had been some comments on the previous, mostly on the waters. Any comments on the actual plat that's being proposed? Okay, if you want to come up, sir, and identify yourself, we can. I'm not sure we can answer them, but we can see.
My name is Ryan Painter. We are adjacent landowners to the east. And obviously the 8 lots aren't a big deal, but as 43, you're talking probably 100 and some cars, and we live off of Bennett Road, and it is not maintained well, as we know Meade County roads can be. Well, it's a big area, but it's Meade County Road is, or Bennett Road is a bad road that needs maintained and work with all the commercial traffic that's on there, from the rapid imports, geothermal drilling company, construction company, a trucking company, the industrial precast concrete plant that has huge trucks in and out. And now we're talking, another 80 to 100 cars in and out of this lot that can go our way or over to Elkville.
Okay, so this would be if they come off on 224th and turn east?
Yes. Yep. A lot of them probably will go the other way to a paved Elkville Road into town, but if it's base employee traffic, they will probably go the other way. But in the future, we also have a drainage that goes into them, which we've had private discussion, and they seem like things are going to go good, but it's not involved in these first 8 lots, but it'll be into the next second or third phase. with that drainage, and then they show it in their deal, but we just want to make sure it's maintained and flows properly to drain the water that comes onto our property out.
You know what commission district you're in? Okay.
We just was a concern we wanted to bring up.
No, it's a legitimate concern. There are a number of roads around Box Elder that I think the commission's struggling with, given the growth that's down there, and trying to find good gravel too. It's a good thing to point out. I'm not sure we can solve it over 8 lots right now.
Yep.
But I would, good detailed email or letter, both to the highway and your commissioner, keep them cognizant of that. And in all frankness, the county struggled some with Box Elder as a city not being willing to, pulling people in, and we kind of need to coordinate on some of those roads down there too.
Sure.
But yeah, keep it up on the. I certainly appreciate your comments on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're not very far from the Pennington County line either, where it changes over, are you? So that doesn't help either. Yeah. Okay, any other comments? Looking out there, my previous commenters too. So, not any other questions that the board has for the proponents. Seeing none, anybody wish to make a motion? Contingent on completion of the infrastructure.
I'm sorry. Make a motion to approve lots 1 through 8, preliminary plat, contingent on
Completion of the infrastructure.
completion of infrastructure. There we go. Big word.
Okay. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right.
Thank you for your time.
First 8 ones done.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to, there's a form of intent, track D of lot 33 of Buffalo Ridge Estates. Okay.
Ooh, give me the pointer. Okay. When we got here, we had landowners with us as well. So what we're doing, the idea come to us from the Johnsons to split up 2 lots from his existing 14-acre parcel. So as you can see, I did a really rough kind of prelim lot layout. And also from that lot layout, you can see it's kind of tricky getting our 3-acre minimum requirement. So that's why you will see like D1. We do have a different triangle type parcel there across the easement just to get that acreage. So that's the reasoning for those lot configurations. So lot D2, pretty straightforward. We utilize there's a valley in the background we utilize for acreage wise, but very good building spot also on that lot. So then we have other jogs around of the lots you can see are just trying to get existing septic and drain fields, things like that, so they're all on the correct lot with the homes and structures. So, over on the west side, you'll see the long skinny. That's an existing well lot. That is where the existing well is. And then you see there's a 50-foot wide access easement that goes to the north and then comes back out within that 100-foot wide access easement. So the small circle I have right there, that's just representing an area that staff had talked with the owners about be necessary to have a cul-de-sac or a turnaround area within that area. So that's just all that's representing there. So, and then I'm going to let the owner speak a little bit more about the water system, kind of because there's some storage tanks up in the areas and things like that. So, Mark.
Yeah, my name is Mark Johnston. We have in that well area, in that well lot that's shown up there, there's a 10,000 gallon tank that's buried up there to access our HOA. And so there was concerns about having enough water, or I believe emergency water, and even maybe a hydrant to service our homes that would be there in case of a fire, which there is water there to do that. We don't have a hydrant placed now. But the main reason for this is those two lots that we're trying to add are for my two sons that want to build homes in the same area that we're at. So that's the main purpose for it.
Didn't we look at this lot once before about chopping it up?
No, it wasn't this one, but it was one really
next.
close to it. Yeah, it might have been just north of that on track
And
B
didn't
or
we reject that?
C.
Don't I recall that we determined between water and access that, yeah, it might have been that C area.
And I don't know if that was. Well, at that time I think they were trying to do 1 acre lots or something. If I
think
recall.
maybe 5 lots.
Yeah,
if I
trying to
recall
do some
correctly.
high density. So.
Oh yeah, at one time they were trying to sell that tract C and split it up. They offered it to us, as a matter of fact, into 3 lots.
So the HOA controls controls the water system?
Yes.
Do we have any specs or data? How many users on it?
There's, on our particular, there's 6 available.
I don't know what that means.
There's 6. The way it was set up, that people could draw off it out of 6 homes were available to draw off of that particular.
How many homes
well.
drawing off of it now?
Right now there's 5.
Okay, and you want to make it 7?
Well, we've got to find out with the HOA if that's actually what it supports. I mean, or if we have to, change things or whatever to be able to do 7. But right now, we're just mainly concerned with adding 1. My other son is not in a big hurry to build on the 1 lot, but my other son is.
Comments?
What?
I would like
to.
So-
Go ahead, Shannon.
Oh.
I mean, if you
Well,
have-
I will point out road system, just so everybody's really clear. We do have a dedicated public right-of-way down to the cul-de-sac. From that point to the subject property, there's a 100-foot wide private access easement within it. It actually calls out 50 feet each side of that property line. So that's 100 feet wide. So I just wanted to point that out, just so everybody's clear about how access from main roads to private access easements and things like that.
So what's the dead end distance to get back to this? Does it meet with our requirements?
It's over 13.
Yeah, it's over.
It's over 1320, and then there's too many houses, it looks like, maybe, that have access off of it, too. Hard to know.
1320 is the dedicated brownstone court. That's the dedicated public right-of-way. And there's 536 feet is the 100-foot private access easement, and the green line would be another private to serve the new 3 lots at 548. So we are 1,000 feet past the required dead-end road length. That one.
4.
There's some that are not built on, right?
Right.
These 6 lots have access off of Brownstone Court. They could access off of it. There's a water share agreement that assigns water to certain lots. Lots it's supposed to, the purpose of that well is supposed to serve. Seven.
And you have a road district?
There is a road district. I don't know.
No, it says there's a homeowner association supposed to have a water agreement. So is there, who runs the water system?
The HOA does.
Brownstone Acres HOA.
Yeah.
I'm reading here, it says, the agreement allows Brownstone Acres HOA to retain 10 additional water user certificates to be held in reserve for potential future lots that may be permitted by the assigner to connect to the water system. Are you part of that system, sir?
Yes.
So are you going to get water user certificates from this group of 10, or is that in addition? Because that would tell me that they're kind of looking at trying to build a lot more back there if they want to hold 10 user certificates in reserve.
Except the signer is defined as the original developer.
Well, in other words, it was hopeful dreaming way back then. And
so, yeah, I don't know. So the question is, who has the right to even assign it? But I mean, at a minimum, you're going to need a bunch of information on the water system. Then you've got the distance. Then I'm pretty comfortable, if I remember correctly, that we had one of your neighbors try to subdivide and we said no to, because of the distance issue and other issues. Would have to do some additional work. I'm just doing that on memory. It's been, what, 4 years ago, Shannon?
What's that?
When that other one was up here, that's been a couple of years at least, I would say.
I was thinking they were trying for a lot higher density. For
it
some
might
reason.
be, but I seem to recall well, I'd have to look back, but I think that guy was rejected basically on access. And then I don't know what kind of condition the existing roads are in. I mean, you know, this is a form of intent, so I'm just giving you some thoughts. You know, upgrading roads, bringing roads up to county spec. Even if the dedicated right-of-way road district says it's fine, with, I don't know what the 100-foot private access and the 500 or the 1,000 feet of private access looks like, and whether you got enough surface there. Having a party in the hall. Trying to solve, I think, that pressure issue out there.
I had a quick question about the water. Then, are some of the lots that have not been built upon already been essentially dedicated a water certificate from that system? So, yeah. I mean, it's 6 that have been built, but there's potentially more that have already been told, or by, you know, it's attached to the lot through the HOA that you will get water through there. So it's the 6 plus those plus yours.
Well, there's other wells in that area. There's only, I mean, our particular well was originally set up to handle four homes.
Okay.
Or I mean six homes. So, like I said, right now I think there's 5, maybe 4 on that particular. Maybe 5 though.
Is it 6 homes, or is there 6, is that the total number of lots as well? Or is there more lots than there are homes?
Well, there's more lots in that area, but not on that
Not on-
well.
Okay, that
No.
was my question. Because if you've got essentially undedicated water, or water that's dedicated to a lot that just hasn't been built on, you kind of have to account for that.
Yeah, I believe there's 2 other wells.
Okay.
That well.
Yeah, it says it's for W, A, B, C, D, E, and F. So tract W is the actual well lot, I guess.
That's why I took it. Yeah. Yep, it's that small one.
Yeah, so it's dedicated for those.
The Buffalo Ridge is everything in the blue line here. It's just not his road. So everything this blue line is classified as Buffalo Ridge Edition. There's multiple wells. When you look up the wells on the DNR's website, there's probably 15 wells slunk in out in this area. So I don't know how the systems are intertwined. What well serves what homes? Fire suppression is going to be the thing because you exceeded requirements of Ordinance 33 tremendously, because it's the whole subdivision. It's not just Brownstone Court that you look at. It's
Okay, so are we talking about medium density, high density? Because obviously we have Ordinance 20 and a couple other requirements that, frankly, you're telling me this is a mess.
It's medium density.
It's medium
Yeah,
density.
when I went through the plats, the lowest lot I could come up with would be 3 acres.
And so I'm reading that the community water system, private water system complies with ordinance, 9 acres or less, blah, 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 feasible. No documentation provided, existing private water systems approved in the ordinance 33 sufficient capacity. So I don't think we can give this gentleman any type of indication that, yeah, go ahead and do what you want to do, because it seems like there's a lot of things that have yet to be addressed that need to be addressed, usually through the planning phases.
Right, so my question is, there's no reason to address anything if the road's not supported. So if you guys aren't going to support a variance on a road, that kind of tells me we're done with the plat. There's no reason to do all the research on the water system. How does it intertwine? How does everything work if there's no support on a road? The roads are getting long. I mean, we're asking for longer lengths all the time.
So I can only speak for myself, but as I recall, that was part of the issue why I rejected another guy up there subdividing, was road length issues. And I don't think he could tell us what the heck was going on with the water system with that too. But like I said, it's been a couple of years at least since that was up here. But we've also told everybody back there in Hidden Valley, this butts up against Hidden Valley, that we're not doing any more back there because of road issues, access issues, and length to get back there. So this area fairly consistent on some of these distance issues.
So does that mean that I'm not legal now? I'm already there.
Well, I mean, it might pre-exist. I don't know how long this plat was done. Obviously, it was done some time ago. Like it was done.
70.
2015. Plat was done. Part of a phased-in deal. Dan probably won.
Probably did.
But yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean
don't hand draw my plan.
Yeah, but what was allowed 11 years ago might not be allowed today, or it was allowed because of the size of your lot. But if you're going to start chopping lots up, that changes the analysis.
But it's on the lots that are on the way to my place that's already there. If my sons are there and there, they're passing to get to me.
Yeah, but the test is you got to go back to you have to go all the way back to where Brownstone Court. That's where the measurements start. And that's a combination of distance and number of buildings and number of houses and everything else. So, I mean, I'm just, I think it's very difficult to allow further subdivision back up in that area. I'd like more information on the roads if you advance. Perhaps you could tell me if all of a sudden the roads are like specs. There's a question on the well. Those are issues for me. So what we've allowed other people to do in the past, and where we have to go back and look. Somebody back there trying to justify that we reject.
The road district does all your plowing and maintenance?
No, we do our own.
Oh.
So we can make the road whatever we want. We can do whatever we want with the road. Like I said, the road's fine for us, but if I was to add my sons on the way to my place, we can widen the road to whatever.
Yeah, except you have to, in here, it's been a long day, but, you know, the requirements might be to improve even brownstone. Because I have no idea what that road looks like either.
Oh, from the county road? I thought we were all up to spec on that road.
Yeah, what he's saying is brownstone to the cul-de-sac, which I don't see a cul-de-sac. But there could be, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay. That might have to be brought up to county specs in order to create more density. But that would have to be, that road would at least be 24 feet wide.
24. So are we SOL, even if we did all the road and redid all that as the HOA and even got it up to our property, we're still in trouble, even if the road was great, to have those lots on the way to mine?
Well, and water, I think, would be.
Water would be a big
I think
issue.
if you had the roads and the water. Then it'd be
Yeah, I think it's, you know, it's appreciated you're trying to do something for your kids. The other thing I want you to appreciate is we might tell you the improvements are more than for them to buy land someplace else that we're going to require, and then I'm not sure. Past, and like I said, you got a long ways one way in and out, which we've generally not given bearing. So I think your approach has got some high risk. At least that's kind of, again, I'm just speaking for myself and one person up here, so everybody else can weigh in on it too. But it, you know, and frankly, it doesn't look like staff sees a lot of issues with it too.
Oh, yeah, I understand that access. Adding, now you have 6.
Another variance that you'd have to get, and it's, yeah.
Well, would be, you have so many taps, it's 10 taps and 2 private individuals. Well,
Right.
is it private or does that make it?
Or, you know, or you're going to require it to become a public system and meet all public standard requirements, which means more testing, which means higher standards, our standards yet. So,
Yeah, a lot of things have changed. I think, you know, of what's been said out here, things have changed here at the county and with the state, with the EA&R ordinance and rules because of the higher density that we've had here in the Black Hills and road length, and we're adding density to this development by adding more individuals on that road in the event of emergency situation. One aspect of it. At it.
Is there any other issues you see? Now, what do you use for a septic up there? I mean, a lot of rock up there.
Oh, we have a septic. Well, there's a 1,000-gallon tank. It works off of that. What is it called?
Yeah, that's the other thing you would require in a deal like this is perk test for sure too. Other comments, thoughts for this gentleman?
Is that a fair explanation, Shannon, of what direction to go?
Yeah, no, I think we'll meet on site too, just so
the ROI is there.
Okay.
More questions?
Thanks for your patience sitting all day.
Very interesting. No problem.
Yeah. Interesting is a word for it. There are other words for it too.
Thank you.
All right, so back to our agenda. Okay, we did discuss this planning items. I always having this on. Did you have a specific item you wanted to bring up for an update? I would suggest that be changed for planning item updates. So there's listed as something that for discussion purposes.
Or suggestion, and since we have these folks sitting as long as what they did, like for instance, folks that are coming up for form of intent, new business, old business, is there a way we can flip that around on the agenda and then put the variances after we would see new business, old business type thing? Or is there something that says we can? And the reason I say that is because we did have several folks that hung it out this afternoon, waiting. And one gentleman, I mean, he was in and out of here in 3 minutes, basically, but he toughed it out, and I give him credit for that. But I'm just thinking, is there something that we can do from a public service standpoint?
You don't like the DMV model?
Yeah, you're right, I don't.
So the variance, we have the variances first because a lot of time if the variance is not passed, that preliminary plat can't go.
Okay.
Or the old business can't go forward. That's why we always have the variance.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
understand that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that makes sense, but.
The FOIs I bring forward when I do meet with them ahead of time on meetings. I try to lay it all out for them, but when they're just
I know.
I want this. I'm like, you're not going to get a variance for a road because I still don't support it, but it's ultimately planning boards and the commissioner's decisions for those variances. So that's why this one was on. Water is going to be the biggest issue with that. I have a feeling it's going to be a community water.
It's going to force it into the state.
Yeah.
So the other good thing about having form of intent is if you have them up front, they think that you're just not being fair. He doesn't have to show up right away when the meeting starts. He's at the agenda. But the fact that he has to sit through here and see that we are pushing it on people, that we are enforcing these.
That's a good point.
When we talk about it in the form of intent.
Said when he left. This has been interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. And the difficulty thing with all these people, well, I'm doing it for my kid. Yeah, but, you're that's going to get sold someday, and it has to work for somebody who isn't. Really.
Exactly.
Okay. That's the hardest thing that's what we try to convey to them. It's long-term planning. It's not today's planning.
Sure.
And that's where they just really.
Because we've had plenty where it's for my kid, and 2 years later somebody else owns it. All of a sudden there's issues.
Okay. It was just a question, suggestion, whatever.
No, and Tanya and I did talk about whether you could kind of group the variances, and the issue is legally, procedurally, there's differences in them, so that's kind of maybe what we could have done together today is when we had under the recommended variances, we could have maybe combined those a little bit, or so maybe there's a way to do that where you have multiple variances. Maybe it's C1. Or under the same individual. Under the same individual is what I was thinking. So you're not moving people up and back and forth. So
No, I would, I'm gonna disagree, and I'll tell you exactly why, because...
Yeah, right. I'm shocked.
Yeah, you're shocked. So, for those of us who've been in the military, back in the 1990s, when they used to hand out the SGLI payments, they had a two-letter word for how to assign your beneficiaries, and that was by law. So a lot of young soldiers and airmen and stuff like that, they would go through the processing, and they would just say, who do you want to give the money to? Your mom, your dad? Your sister? I don't know. Okay, we'll say, we'll do it by law. And then we had Desert Storm happen, and we had a bunch of dead soldiers. And that stuff turned into a huge mess. So I know this is a tedious, time-consuming, lawyerly process, but to be honest with you, it's succinct. And let's face it, the one thing I've noticed, and I'm sure my friend there, Scott, can relate to as well, is a matter of perception and interpretation of the data given to you. This way, because we're doing this lockstep, step by step by step, we know exactly where we were at that point in time, and we have a recording of it, because everybody can reinterpret events, as you pointed out here. And we see it happening now with development that's no longer with us. So I would say that I know this sucks, but there have been plenty of times we've gotten out of these meetings a lot quicker than this.
Fair enough. Other comments?
What's next month look like? Bad. Probably just as bad.
Yeah, we're paying the price for having those easy meetings for the last couple of months.
Full throttle.
Full throttle. What are they?
Subdividing out there on highway. Full throttle.
One thing.
Quite a few. Is everyone here the Monday after the 4th? July 7th.
And one other item to bring up is to make sure to get everybody a Meade County email address. I haven't got one yet, so I need to go get one from Tony. All right. Does anybody else need a Meade County address?
I have one.
Email.
Yeah.
That system's going into play, is that what you said?
Don't have Dylan.
Somehow made it longer and
Other departments
addresses
don't
just-
have the training yet is why.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes. You're like, I'm out. Let's go.